to a frigid and blustery night in Boulder, Colorado at Folsom Field. The Kansas State Wildcats, number 9, the Colorado Golden Buffaloes, number 6. And along with Dave Lapham, I'm Drew Goodman. Good evening, everybody. Two teams with designs on playing in the Big 12 championship game. Two teams still very much in the national picture.
No question. Both teams in September, they found their identity. October, they hit their stride. November, they want to finish strong. The winner tonight is still in the hunt for the big game.
Yeah, the big game and loads of talent on both sides of the football. We begin with Kansas State. Kevin Lockett, an All-American at wide receiver. They have to get him the football.
And look what he's done. 16 catches against Colorado in his career. Way back his freshman year, he started strong. This was an unbelievable catch. 39-inch vertical jump, fly paper in the right hand, controls the football. They're going to have to try to eliminate him from the game plan. On the flip side of things, Ray Carew, 20 touchdown passes, number 1 all-time in Colorado history. 7 of those touchdowns, 60 yards or more. 4 of those touchdowns, 70 yards or more. A big play guy can take it to the house at any time.
He may be the fastest wide receiver in college football. This one should be a whole lot of fun. K-State and Colorado. Let's go to Hollywood in the Fox Television Center. Here's Randy Sparagi.
Well, it's a bit warmer inside Stage 2 here at the Fox Television Center, and we're glad you could join us for some college football. This is the place to be. Hello, everybody. I'm Randy Sparagi. And before we head back out to Boulder, we want to catch you up on what's been going on around the country. Top-ranked Florida trying to regain some respect after last week's struggle with Vanderbilt. Today, the Gators taking on the Gamecocks of South Carolina. We'll pick it up first quarter. Florida with a 7-6 lead. Danny Werfel to Jaquez Green. He's going to go up the left sideline, and he's going to go all the way. 56 yards for the touchdown. That made it 14-6 Gators, and Florida went on to win it big. Steve Spurrier becomes Florida's all-time winningest coach. Number 2, Ohio State, looking to clinch a trip to the Rose Bowl. First place Buckeyes up against last place Indiana. Fourth quarter, that Buckeye D steps up. Jay Rogers stripped by Andy Katzenmeyer. Matt Finks goes 45 yards for the touchdown. That put the Buckeyes up 17-10. They got a scare, but they got the win. Congrats to the Buckeyes. They're on their way to the Rose Bowl. 5th-ranked Nebraska. No problem with Iowa State. Huskers have now won 30 straight conference games. In the ACC, number 6, North Carolina, taking on Virginia in Charlottesville. Tied at 17 in the 4th, Tim Sherman. Deep to Jermaine Crowell. That set up Rafael Garcia. 32-yard field goal up and good. Virginia rallies to beat North Carolina. Virginia has now won 8 straight games at home versus those Tar Heels. That's all the time we've got here, but you're just in time for our Big 12 Game of the Week. 6th-ranked Colorado hosting number 9 Kansas State in Boulder. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Now, when you subscribe to the Rocky Mountain News, you'll also help reforest Colorado's damaged woodlands. Buy 6 months, get 6 months free, and we'll plant a tree in your name. For current and new subscribers, call 1-800-892-NEWS for details. The Rocky Mountain News. If you live here, you get it.
Hi, got your pizza?
I didn't order a pizza.
You didn't order a pizzeria stuffed crust pizza?
Sure didn't.
Baked fresh every day. Not too thick, not too thin. Just like pizzeria pizza. Tasty sauce and ring of cheese that's baked into the crust. But
Oh yeah, that's ours. Thanks a lot.
Discover Pizzeria Stuffed Crust Pizza.
Hi, got your pizza?
What pizza?
It's here. Let me feel it. 97-626 LX5. I want to touch it. Customized by Mazda. I want to hold it in my hand. With air, cruise control, cassette stereo, power windows and locks, and more. $17,895. Or lease for $219 a month, $500 down payment. I'm never gonna let go. Mazda, customized for value. 626. I got a passion for the road.
Why does having cable service have to be so painful? Someone explain to me why I have to pay rockstar money for channels that I never watch. Don't raise my rates, people. Give me what I want for 20 bucks a month. Hey, here's a concept. Try to keep it on for 24 hours. I'm sorry we cut your cable line, sir, but I can recommend a great new book. Do you hear what I'm saying? I want to watch great movies, great sports, and all the stuff that little Nielsen guy likes. And I want it for under 20 bucks a month. 20 bucks a month! What do you want? Where were you last night?
We've weathered some of the worst storms, survived some of the most brutal punishment dealt by the elements and the economy. We've helped millions of families throughout the heartland of America do the same. And together, we've come through stronger, more resilient than ever. For home, car, and life insurance, we're proud to be your shield of shelter. Shelter Insurance will always be there for you.
One shot, one punch. Second best just won't do. Fight.
As the snow continues to come down, Colorado won the toss. They deferred. Kansas State wants the football. So Colorado will defend the north goal. And Jason Leslie will kick it deep. He normally kicks barefooted, but even the weather has gotten the better of him. He's got a shoe on.
Well, true. Not only 16 degrees raw temperature, you factor in the wind chill, -5 below zero. So, boy, I'll tell you, it is a chilly willy tonight.
Here we go. Chris Canny's in the middle. Chris Canny will get the football at the goal line. And he'll be brought down shy of the 20-yard line. Good job covering the kick by Colorado. Brian Cavanaugh. This was about a month ago against Nebraska, 5 of 19, a dismal performance, 39-3. The Cornhuskers rolled over the Wildcats. Since that time, nearly flawless, 10 touchdowns, just 1 interception. He's thrown 8 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. He and Coy Detmer 1-2, Detmer being 1, Cavanaugh 2 in the conference in throwing the football.
And the great thing about Cavanaugh, Drew, he knows the offense as well as the coaches. I'll tell you, he can get him the right play every snap.
Goolsby and Lawrence, double tight end formation for the Wildcats. Lawrence the football, he'll lose 4 yards. Ron Merkerson read him in the backfield. Let's check the team bus for Kansas State, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. David.
Well, what they'd like to do, Drew, is play keep weight, take more snaps than Colorado's explosive offense. They want to corral Caruth, tackle him after he makes a catch, don't let him make a big play, and they want to toy with Coy. That means pressure the quarterback. You have to distract and disrupt him, or he'll kill you.
And there is Bill Snyder now in his 8th year, 54, 34, and 1. The job he has done, maybe the best job in the history of college football. It sounds strange, but Kansas State was a down football team for years. Cavanaugh is sacked back at the 9-yard line. That was a coverage sack. And Greg Jones picks up his 8th sack of the year. Let's look at the Kansas State offensive line, which generally speaking has protected Cavanaugh well. Jason Johnson, a 3-year starter at center. He's very good, as is Todd Weiner, the left tackle. The skill guys for Kansas State. Mike Lawrence has come on. He's averaged 119 yards rushing the last 4. Andre Anderson in the passing game, along with Kevin Lockett. Another guy to watch. So it is 3rd down and 20. The Wildcats have gone backwards. Trips to the top. Cavanaugh will try to run it out of there. Not much doing. He picks up a couple of yards to the 12. Ryan Olsen covered him up. And Colorado able to turn away Kansas State. Dave, the secondary must have done a heck of a job.
Every snap, Drew, they did. The sack was a covered sack. Nowhere to go with the ball. The last snap by Cavanaugh. They double-teamed Kevin Lockett. They bracketed him with 2 players every single snap. Somebody's going to have to come up big in one-on-one coverage.
That's James Garcia. And back deep, Ryan Nunez. Colorado should get good field position. This is a great punt. He turned it over all the way back to the 34-yard line. Nunez escapes 1 and will fall down at about the 37-yard line. A 53-yard punt by Garcia. Garcia, and he gets Kansas State out of trouble. Colorado offensively has been prolific. When they won the national championship in 1990, they were a wishbone team primarily, or an eye-bone team. Now they are very much balanced. Coy Detmer, look at the numbers this year. A school record 22 touchdowns. He has set 20 passing records this season alone.
A little wrinkle right to the line of scrimmage from the sideline. No huddle. What they're doing is putting pressure on Kansas State defensive recognition, giving them less time to communicate. Although the officials are holding up play, allowing Kansas State to match up.
Herschel Troutman's the running back, 2 tight ends. Troutman gets the football. Troutman will get to about the 40-yard line. Minimal gain, about 3 yards. Now let's check the team must for the University of Colorado.
Well, the first one is lock it up. That's referring to Kevin Lockett. They want to take him out of the game plan if possible. Keep Coy cozy in the pocket. Protect for Detmer. He's deadly if you give him time to throw the ball, and mix it up a little bit. Run when Kansas State's thinking pass, and vice versa. Pass when they're thinking run. Keep them on their heels.
3 receivers to the near side. Closest to the line of scrimmage in the slot is Ray Caruth. Detmer to put it up first time. Complete. This is James Kidd. Very close to a first down. I believe it'll be just shy. Demetric Denmark brought him down. Kidd has been out for a few weeks. He had an arthroscope on his knee, and he is back healthy. Just another weapon, and maybe the best wide receiver core in college football. Big offensive line led by Chris Naoli, who goes 6'4" and 310. And Phil Savoy, the possession receiver. Caruth, the burner. Chris Anderson, a big target, around 6'4" as well. 3rd down and a yard for Colorado. On the ground, Troutman, and he spins ahead for the first down, just shy of midfield. Tackled by Deshaun Fogel.
Well, they came with a 2 tight end formation. Drew just pounded the football in there. This frozen field condition, there's a few things that are key in this. I think the frozen field helps wide receivers. They know the cuts they're making. They know where they're going. Secondary people do not. It favors pass protection. The defensive line can't get off the mark as quick as they would in a good field condition.
1st and 10 for Colorado. Troutman keeping his feet. He'll have another first down to the 41. Mario Smith made the tackle, the free safety. Colorado threatening already, and we want to welcome the folks watching in the New York area on the Empire State Network. We understand you're having technical difficulties trying to get the Sabre Bruin game. Welcome to a frigid night in Boulder, Colorado, along with Dave Lapham and Lisa Molosky. I'm Drew Goodman. Top 10 matchup, 6th ranked Colorado, 9th ranked Kansas State. 2 teams at 8-1. Two tight ends, toss sweep, Troutman cuts it back. And he'll get to the 39. That was closed down pretty quickly by Jerome Evans, who had a huge game last week against Kansas. Here's the defensive look for Kansas State. They'll play an even front. Niall Wyron, one of the best pass rushers in the western part of the country. He has 10.5 sacks. The linebackers led by freshman Mark Simino. He leads the team in tackles. Chris Canny, along with Bryant Westbrook, probably the best cornerback in college football. He is glue. There he is. And right now, he is matched up on Phil Savoy. 2nd down and 8. Caruth in motion. They roll that way. They throw to Caruth. Catch is made. And the tackle is also made immediately by Clyde Johnson. And Caruth stretches to the sticks. It'll be close.
Well, that's a matchup that you think Colorado salivates over. They've got the strong safety, Clyde Johnson, matched up in man coverage on Ray Caruth. Clyde Johnson motioned across the formation. When Ray Caruth did, he mirrored his every move. That's pretty good coverage by a strong safety on an explosive speed wideout.
They bring a fullback in. It's Keith Miller. Usually Colorado runs just out of the ace-back formation, and they give to Miller. And it wasn't a bad idea. He got the first down, a few more to the 26-yard line. Again, for you folks watching on the Empire State Network in New York, evidently the Jumbotron, I hope everybody's all right, fell on the ice.
Wow.
And the Jumbotron is a big object.
It certainly is. You don't want to be underneath that bad boy when it comes earthbound. You know, what they showed right there, though, Colorado drew is another little wrinkle. They gave to the fullback, but they ran the option to the short side of the field. Detmer followed through on the execution of the option, so I think we'll see that short yardage and goal line tonight.
Again, two tight ends, again on the ground. Herschel Troutman, big opening. Troutman, good go. Touchdown, Colorado, no flags.
There's a happy young man working his way to the sideline. Colorado doing a nice job of running the football. Look at how slippery the footing is. His offensive line, though, the backside guard and tackle on the counter pull around, they get clean blocks. He would have scored and touched football, folks. Nobody puts any kind of a fingernail on him until he crosses the goal line.
Jason Leslie's got the shoe off now, Dave. He's getting cocky.
It's crazy.
He didn't kick off this way. And Leslie should have put the shoe on. He missed the extra point. Jason Leslie, who has missed now 4 extra points this year, so it's just 6-0 Colorado. And here, the expression of Coy Detmer after the run by Troutman. Colorado strikes first blood.
Opening our new checking account at First Bank was easy.
Yeah, we got free checking for a full year.
We just called 24-hour telephone banking.
And opened our account right over the phone.
We applied for our First Bank home equity loan over the phone, too.
We got a great rate and really fast service.
With First Bank, we can spend our free time having fun.
And not at the bank. But if we need them, they're just a phone call away.
First Bank, the Colorado bank for you.
If you're coming to Texas, I would take you to the McDonald's Observatory. See the big old microscope there and different kind of planets. I would take you out to the beach and go swim in there. I would take you horseback riding, take you out to the Alamo. My favorite thing in the whole state is the jackalopes. I've seen a postcard of them. I'm pretty sure they exist.
If you want to know why Texas is like a whole other country, just ask one of our 18 million ambassadors.
I'm in a peak mood. I'm peaking right now. The peak is where you hear the newest music the soonest. You hear the music before it's even been written. Music so fresh, it's crunchy. That's peak music. That is peak music.
96.5, The Peak.
Denver's rock alternative.
Okay, any questions? What kind of a question is that?
8:54 to go in the first quarter. Colorado, they throw it to the tune of more than 330 yards a game. They produce a touchdown primarily on the ground.
Well, Drew, last year's game, Colorado racked up 500 yards offense, more than 300 in the air, more than 200 on the ground. That was one thing Kansas State wanted to do, was shut down Colorado's running game. If you give Colorado's offense and Coy Detmer a two-way go, you're in serious trouble. You have to make them one-dimensional. They certainly didn't shut down the run in that first drive.
So Leslie, still with the shoe off now, will kick it deep. And this one will go through the end zone, so he gets a little more football. Here's the touchdown again. Herschel Troutman, the diminutive back from Naples, Florida.
Slips a little bit, regains his balance. Great blocking by his offensive line at the linebacker level. They wipe everything clean. Troutman is just off to the races at that point. 27-yard touchdown run.
Troutman reminds so many of their Eric Bieniemy, who starred here on the national championship team in '90, and the extra point was a slice job.
Yeah, he just pushed that right from word go. And usually barefoot kickers want to be barefoot to get a good feel for the football, but in this cold weather, it's like kicking a rock. That thing's as hard as a brick.
Lawrence in the deep eye again. Kavanaugh will put it up quickly to Lockett, and he'll get 5 yards, gathered in almost immediately by Marcus Washington.
Lockett has now caught a pass in his 42nd consecutive game, and that's a school record. Now, one thing you can do to take care of pass rush is a quick set. That was basically less than a two-step drop. It was like one step, rise up, get rid of the football. That will help negate a strong pass rush Colorado had in the first series.
Rocket all by himself to the top of your screen. Russell comes on a blitz, and he gets to Lawrence. Matt Russell, the Butkus Award finalist. The senior from Fairview Heights, Illinois. And you like middle linebackers, Dave. This guy is about as good as it comes.
I like this guy. I mean, he's a lunch pail guy, blue-collar worker. Colorado doing a good job up front of absorbing all the offensive linemen. And Matt Russell blitzes. It's a sound blitz against the run or the pass. Absolutely nowhere to go for Mike Lawrence. Taking them tackle for loss, getting them off schedule a little bit now. It's third and convertible, though.
Third down about 3.5 for Kansas State. Kavanaugh throwing. Canty the catch, and he'll have the first down. Dalton Simmons hit him on contact. And if you're wondering, is that the Canty who you saw on the other side of the football? Yes, it is. Chris Canty, the All-American cornerback, with his 5th reception of the year.
Right, 5 catches for over 80 yards now. This guy, not only a defensive back, a wide receiver as we've seen, as well as a punt returner. When you have a cannon like him, fire that bad boy. Give him some opportunity. Kavanaugh with the quick set once again. Get rid of the football before Colorado can sniff it.
Lawrence, nowhere to go. Inside it is Ryan Olson and Greg Jones. Olson, a 275-pound defensive tackle, the strongest player in black.
And Colorado's defense getting the better of it, getting off the mark quicker than Kansas State's offensive line. Kansas State's offensive line knows what the snap count is, but it almost seems like Colorado is equal to the task. I mean, they're beating them to the punch every snap.
Second down, call it 10. Now Kavanaugh is trying to change the play. The crowd very savvy here in Boulder.
Colorado timeout.
With 2 seconds on the play clock. Interesting. Usually with confusion like that, you see the offense burn the timeout. Instead, it is Colorado. So with 6:41 to go in the first quarter, the Buffaloes lead the Wildcats 6-0. We're back after this.
If there's lots of places that you would like to see,
fly Southwest Airlines, because friends fly free.
Fly so you can learn.
Fly so you can earn.
For romance.
Give it a chance.
Fly so you can dance.
Fly so you can cry.
Fly so you can yell.
Fly because it's something that you were born to sell.
Fly, cause it's America.
From sea to shining sea.
And if you fly Southwest Airlines,
your friend flies free.
Purchase full unrestricted fare by November 20th and a friend flies free.
These are the biggest feet in pro basketball. Shoe size 21. If you think the shoes are hard to fill, imagine what it takes to fill the rest of him.
Big boy.
Well, new cheese tortellini from Chunky foots the bill. It's loaded with giant ring-shaped pasta stuffed with cheese, plus huge chunks of chicken and tons of vegetables. So if you've got a giant appetite to feed, Chunky cheese tortellini scores with the big boys. Satisfied?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal.
Here we go.
You fill me with passion, like an old sweet song. Sweet song, yeah. You're a part of me. That's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Big 12 Conference Football is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. And by Southwest Airlines with low fares on every flight, every seat, every day. Kansas State is second down and about 12. Pressure coming. Kavanaugh complete down the middle. It is Jimmy Dean, a senior from Pompano Beach, Florida, hauling it in. And it'll be very close to a first down.
And Jimmy Dean starting to get healthy. He's missed a few games with a leg injury. Colorado stunting up front, picked up well by Kansas State, giving Kavanaugh a throwing lane to complete it down the middle to Jimmy Dean. And first down, Drew, Kansas State's going to do a better job. They're averaging 0.3 of a yard on 3 first down snaps. They're going to gain more yards on first down to give them an opportunity to stay on schedule and convert on third down.
0.3 of a yard, Dave, that will cause you problems on second down.
Real real big problems. I think 2 of the 3 first downs, they lost yardage. They were tackled for a loss, and on first down, when you're knocked backwards, you got problems.
Ball's just shy of the 42-yard line. It is enough for a first down. So K-State has put a couple of first downs together. Let's take a look at the Buffalo defense. They have an even front, led by Greg Jones, the senior defensive end, one of the best pass rushers in school history. Matt Russell, we've talked a lot about him. He is terrific against the run, one of 3 finalists for the Butkus Award. Steve Rosga has had an amazing year. He's also a senior, 5 interceptions, leads the conference. Also 3rd on the team in tackles. 2 tights again. Lawrence finds some space, and Lawrence will have another first down. Flip side of the 50. The Wildcats to the Colorado 47-yard line. Ryan Black, the strong safety, had to make the stop.
Well, Colorado is up tight to the line of scrimmage with their linebackers. Matt Russell gets consumed that time, and once Lawrence breaks free at the line of scrimmage, he's at the defensive back level. Look at how tight the linebackers are. Fullback gets a lead block, and Lawrence is clean. Then there's no linebacker coming over the top in pursuit. He's to the secondary before anybody puts a clean lick on him. That's the risk you take with those backers up tight to the line.
It continues to snow here in Boulder. Here's a flea flicker, and a man's open. Lockett. Oh, what a play by Simmons. How did he recover? Lockett had about 5 strides on the Buffalo secondary. Remember that play.
Kavanaugh took too long to throw the football, Drew. Should have gotten rid of the football a little bit sooner, but great close on the football. Lawrence pitches it back. Little flea flicker. Kavanaugh, plenty of air underneath it, but Simmons reacts, closes on the football, makes a great play. Excellent help. Wasn't fooled at all. Lockett, once again, though, all game long, double team. You see him bracketed right there by Simmons and Rosga.
Well, you hear coaches talk all the time about trying to recruit speed. That's where speed really pays off. 2nd and 10. Kavanaugh to the outside, complete to Lawrence. He slipped down, a pickup of about 4.
Well, what's going to have to happen, Kevin Lockett is going to have to play the role of decoy quite a bit in this football game because he's getting attention. He's getting double covered. Look, 2 Colorado Buffaloes involved with him, and that gives Lawrence an opportunity underneath at the linebacker level. Lockett is going to have to clear zones out for his teammates. And he's going to have to be unselfish and fill that role and take his shot when he gets the opportunity. But the guys that get man coverage are going to have to step up large.
Kansas State needs the 37-yard line. 3rd down and 7. 3 receivers to the top. Here comes the reverse. This is Dean with the football. And he won't get close. Knocked out at the 44, which is the line of scrimmage. Ryan Olsen was not fooled. Steve Rosga also there.
As was the entire Buffalo defensive unit. Everybody stayed on their feet. Lockett's got a key block here. He's going to take care of Rosga. Rosga separates from that block and gets involved in the play. And there was great inside-out pursuit by the Colorado Buffaloes. There was nowhere for a cut to be made up the football field. Diagnosed very well by the Buffaloes.
So James Garcia will have to punt it away after Kansas State moved it into Buff territory. Brian Nunez back. This one looks like it's headed for the end zone. And it is. Kevin Lockett covering it. Got undercut by Chris Canny.
He's hurt.
Lockett,
He's hurt.
Canny both still on the turf.
They're hurt.
Maybe the 2 best players for K-State are down.
Yep, going skiing in my new Alpine Jetta, exclusively from Continental Volkswagen, on my new K2 skis, with my new Thule ski rack, which is on top of my new Alpine Jetta, driving to the Cascade Hotel in Vail, where I'll be getting 2 nights for absolutely nothing. Okay, get your 97 Alpine Jetta exclusively from Continental Volkswagen for just $199 a month, and you'll get all this cool stuff. Continental Volkswagen on Broadway and Orchard. So go to Continental.
Who gets better Iowa scores, public or private?
Can we dispute our covenants with the Homeowners Association?
The 12th man rules in this town.
Is this a bipartisan issue or just a spin maneuver?
Life in Colorado has a language all its own, and no one speaks it like the Denver Post.
How do I
why steer clear of the cone zones.
Call 832-3232. Buy 6 months, get 6 months free. Easier to hold, easier to read. Every day by 6 a.m. The Denver Post, more of a newspaper.
Hello, I'm John Biegner, president of the University of Colorado. You know, it's easy to get the big picture from up here. But here, in the daily life of a university, we face new realities in higher education. Our classrooms can no longer be bounded by walls. Classrooms of the future must extend from cyberspace to the daily challenges of our communities, and from deep space to the inner reaches of each mind. It's a total learning environment. It's the University of Colorado.
6-0 Colorado. Good news. Kevin Lockett is up and okay. So is Mr. Canny. This thing could have been absolutely incredible for Kansas State. If those guys go down, they're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, that's the 2 kill men, Drew, and they lost track of where they were on the football field. Great effort, but unnecessary, really.
Trotman on the ground runs into that Kansas State defensive front led by Deshaun Fogel, the middle linebacker. It is an outstanding defense. Last year, they led college football on the defensive side of the ball, and this year they're in the top 20 again.
Look at the number he's wearing, number 8. He started out as a member of the secondary, and training table was good to him as well as was the weight room. He just kept beefing up, getting bigger and bigger. Now he's a linebacker, and a very active physical linebacker. The thing that happened to Lockett, Drew, is you fall on this frozen turf, it's like falling on a concrete floor. There's no give to it. Man, I'll tell you, it jars all the organs in your body. It's really tough to fall on.
Maybe a yard on that play by Trotman. Blitz coming. Detmer gets it away underneath, and the pass is dropped. Right in the hands of Chris Anderson. He dropped it, and they had the crossing route. He would have run for a few more.
Now, I'll tell you, the thing that impresses about Anderson, 6'4", 220-pound receiver. He's almost as big as some quasi-tight ends like a Shannon Sharp or a Jay Novacek in the National Football League. I mean, this kid's got some ability, but the first thing you have to do, as offensive coordinator Carl talks to him, is secure the football.
2 receivers to the near side. Trotman behind Detmer on 3rd and 9. They twist up front. Detmer in trouble, loose the football. And do they call that a fumble, or are they calling it an incomplete pass? Fumble. They're calling it a fumble. Colorado fell on it. Melvin Thomas on it. Niall Wyron was close. That was a near disaster for the Buffaloes. Detmer hit from behind.
Well, one of the big keys for Kansas State was to pressure the quarterback. Collapsing on him, it really, Detmer just lost the ball in his throwing motion. I mean, he just lost control of the football. You know, quarterbacks in this weather, Drew, quarterbacks with large hands execute well in this weather. Troy Detmer's not a very big guy with small hands. It's hard to control the football in this type of weather.
It was actually Thad Swayzer who began his career here in Boulder, who knocked it free. This is a line drive punt. And it takes a Colorado bounce. Canty moved close to it for a moment, and they're going to kill it inside the 45-yard line. Good field position for K-State, a punt of 43 yards, and downstairs we go to a bundled up Lisa Molosky. Lisa, you staying warm?
Oh, I'm trying to. I'll tell you what, the Colorado guys gave me some help. These are the gloves the guys are wearing. They have leather palms, and they've got some fleece on the backside. These are the cold weather gloves, and you'll see a lot of the guys with these hand warmers. They're attached to the back of their jerseys, so they keep their hands extra warm. And inside these gloves, you can't see it, but I've got little heaters inside, and they're beautiful. Up to you guys.
Yeah, I got all of those, in fact. You don't think I didn't come prepared? Of course, Lapham, an old offensive lineman, he's wearing a T-shirt right now.
Yeah, right.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Kavanaugh straight back. Time breaking down, and he's low for Canty, and it's incomplete. Let's take a look at the Dr. Pepper roundup. What else transpiring today in college football? Florida, no problem with the Gamecocks, the #1 team in the land. Indiana gives the Buckeyes a tussle in Bloomington. Florida State and Southern Miss. That'll be a good football game, you would figure. Nebraska continues to roll. Virginia beats North Carolina. Wow. That is an upset. Happened in Charlottesville.
That hurts Carolina's alliance hopes.
BYU looks like one of those guys. Remember that show Combat?
Yeah.
You know, on the desert, you wear that on the desert so the sand doesn't blow in your ears. I guess it works also on cold nights in the foothills of the Rockies.
It's keeping those ears warm. That's the important thing. Lost it down. And look, was he talking about, did they have 12 men on the field? I'm wondering if that was the call. Did they have an illegal participation call? Did they lose the yards and the down?
You're wondering, and so is Bill Snyder. So it'll be first. Well, they didn't lose it down now. It was initially indicated. Now they're going to correct it. Well, they're not going to change it. Tom Hollers knows the rules.
Second down. They lose the down.
So it's 2nd and 15. Bill Snyder. They were 3 and 40 to end the 80s, folks, in Manhattan, Kansas. Now they've been to 3 consecutive bowl games. If they win tonight, it'll be 4 straight years with 9 wins. Movement up front. Colorado gets back. Lawrence, a couple of yards. Ryan Olsen and Greg Jones not allowing Lawrence to do very much.
And Lawrence has been a very hot running back for Kansas State. He's been averaging 119 yards the last 4 games. In fact, last week against Kansas, he had 159 yards on 24 carries of the football. So Colorado is getting their running game more on track at this point than Kansas State has.
3rd down and 12. Passing situation. Again, trips to the top. Colorado brings 4. Kavanaugh. It's picked off and dropped. Ryan Black was right there. Jimmy Dean was the intended target. And Terrell Davis had the coverage. Good defense again by the black shirts of Colorado.
Well, Davis and Black, there was an interception. Davis knocked the ball free from his own teammate. I mean, that was an unbelievable collision on his teammate, but it's a good sign. Both players going aggressively for the football. You don't want to diminish that attitude.
Garcia will punt the football. Nunez back at his own 17. And this is a monster punt again. And Nunez doesn't know where he is. Back to his own 2. He fields the punt. That's a Cardinal sin.
We'll let it go.
And he'll get to the 10. And I'm sure Rick Neuheisel will have a conversation with him when he gets to the sideline. A 55-yard punt, a return of 8. Watch again where he catches this.
Yeah, I mean, he's inside the 5-yard line. His heels are in the shadow of his goal line. The rule is if your heels are at the 10-yard line, let the ball go. He loses track of where he is. He's at the 2-yard line fielding that football. They're going to have to put an invisible fence at the 10-yard line and give him a slight correction if he wanders beyond that.
Hey, one of those things you can get for your dog.
Yeah.
Won't leave your yard.
Exactly. Just give him that zap, you know, hook him up, and if he goes beyond that 10-yard line, a slight correction and reroute him.
With Dave Lapham and Lisa Molosky, I'm Drew Goodman. 2:28 to go in the first quarter. Colorado leading 6-0. Herschel Troutman scored on a touchdown run, and then the extra point was missed.
That could be large. With the 2-point conversion rule, though, it's not as big as it once was. You hate to miss extra points and have to convert a 2-point conversion to get back on track.
And again, some sort of problem here that warrants a discussion.
Boy, if I'm these officials, I let this game roll. I don't stop this game at all. It's 90,000 degrees below zero. They're in a freezer. Why do they want to have these big get-togethers and gatherings? Let the game, unless there's a clock problem.
25-second clock from the north end of the field. Please shut down both 25-second clocks.
The 25-second clock froze. 25-second clock said it's too cold for me, and it malfunctioned, so the officials will keep track of that on the football field. When you have clocks saying it's too chilly, that's a bad deal. I mean, that's cold.
And I'll tell you what, that also makes it difficult for the quarterback. You have to have a sense of when it's running out. You can't run the play clock too close to zero. Normally, they can just look up in the end zone. They go to Troutman. And again, not much doing in the heart of the Kansas State defensive line. Getting up last is Andrew Timmons. Let's take a look at the Bowl Alliance as we are well into November. The Sugar, the Fiesta, and the Orange, 4 guaranteed spots. The champions of this conference, the Big 12, the SEC, the Big East, the ACC, and of course 2 at-large spots. And Still in contention, Colorado and Kansas State, which you'll drop out of contention in all probability if you lose here.
Yep.
Second down and 8. Colorado still has to go to Lincoln, Nebraska on the 29th of this month. Detmer throwing, complete to Caruth. And he is wrapped up by Clyde Johnson, but I believe he got enough for a first down. He is a guy that scares the daylights out of a secondary if you let him get some room after the catch.
Well, here's his release. He's running a little slant pattern down the middle of the football field. The key is tackle after the catch. This is where he can kill you. Jerry Rice, how many times did you see Joe Montana or Steve Young hit Jerry Rice with a 5-7-yard slant pass that he turned into a 75-yard touchdown because of his running ability? That's what Ray Caruth can do for you. Turn a regular play into a big play with his wheels.
2 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons for Caruth. Screen set up. Wyron read that all the way, and he knocked it down. Flag for Trotman, and here comes the flag.
Yep, they're going to call interference. Wyron came through the running back to knock the ball down. He collisioned the running back before the arrival of the football. The official in the middle of the field threw his flag, but he's looking at something else. Looks like they're going to call holding against Colorado. Kansas State is celebrating. There it is. It's holding against Colorado. That's the call. They didn't make the call on Wyron in the open field. The official in the middle of the field threw his flag. He's taking a look at the tight end position normally.
Holding.
I'll tell you, Niall Wyron, had he allowed Trotman to catch the football, would have worked out better had they accepted the play, because he would have tackled him for a few-yard loss. But let's try to pick up the hold.
Here's what the official's looking at. There's no tight end. That's the position that he's looking at. Now, he can't go down and lock up the defensive back, Denmark, before the ball is in the air. That's what the play is. The hold is because the ball's in the air.
Trotman reads his block for a moment, and then grabbed by Travis Oates, who got off of his block and made the tackle. The 225-pound sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas. 1:05 to go in the rapidly moving first quarter.
Let me clear up what happened there. The slot receiver started to block, tied up Clyde Johnson. He has a right to come up and make a play on the screen pass. The slot receiver engaged Clyde Johnson and held him, not giving him an opportunity to react to the screen pass, therefore the flag.
25-second clocks are operating again. Here's an option look. And they'll go back to the drawing board with that. Coy Decker is no Darian Hagan, and he's no Cordell Stewart. Good play by Mark Simino on the pitch man, Herschel Trotman. It'll set up a 3rd down and 14 for Colorado with 24 seconds left in the first period.
And Coy Detmer on that play, Drew, probably should have held onto the football and turned it up the football field. The pitch man was defended well. But like you say, he's not a Darian Hagan. He's not a guy that's going to make those decisions. He hasn't run the option very much in his career at all.
They might not get this snap off before the end of the quarter. They just do get it off. Detmer in trouble. And somehow he gets away. And they're going to get a first down out of this deal to Darren Chevolini. Or was his knee down before he got to the sticks?
Yeah, he caught the football and he had a knee down when he caught the ball. And he's down at that point. Rick Neuheisel upset about it. But Neuheisel's saying he got off his knee before he made the catch. That's the discrepancy. Was he down or does he get the first down? They're saying he's 5 yards shy because his knee hit the ground when he received the football. And that's the call. I'll tell you, Detmer, though, shows some nice elusiveness in the pocket. Look at this guy. I mean, he just kind of slides up in the pocket, finds his receiver. Yep, the knee is down. Good call. You got to call him down right there, and they did. No first down.
An excellent call. So the first chapter closed in Boulder. 6-0, Colorado.
Husky, guaranteed forever, and only at the Home Depot.
Lead car. Take it slow. Everybody okay? Wait a minute, what's he doing? He wants more.
Nicotrol, but that means one single step. If you're not comfortable with that, you may want Nicoderm CQ. CQ's a 3-strength program. You start with the highest strength and gradually step down till you free yourself of nicotine. And gradual is the method doctors and pharmacists prefer. Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to quit successfully.
Husky, guaranteed forever, and only at the Home Depot.
It's time we said enough is enough. Find out what you can do. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Not one more lost life, not one more grieving family, not one more.
Back in Boulder, 6-0. Drew Goodman, Dave Lapham, Lisa Molosky. Cold night, 16 degrees when it started. The wind chill, 5 below. It's supposed to drop from there. Andy Mitchell, a new punter. Nick Peach punted the first time. They've had an ongoing battle all year. This is not a good effort. This is straight up in the air, though it does take a Colorado bounce.
It's going to roll a long way on this hard turf now.
It's going to look pretty in the book, but that thing went up the elevator shaft. Killed at the 17-yard line. It turns out to be a 59-yard punt. We talked to Bill Snyder yesterday about his senior quarterback, Brian Cavanaugh. Here's what he had to say.
I think Brian has gotten himself better week in and week out, with maybe one exception, being in the Nebraska ball game, and that's to be expected from a young guy who's starting as a fifth-year senior, but only his first season as a true starter. You know, I think he's going to have to direct our football team with a great deal of poise. I think he's going to have to be accurate in his throws. We got to make sure we don't turn the football over.
His problem so far, Dave, he hasn't found too many receivers open.
Colorado's done a great job in the secondary. They have blanketed Kansas State's wideouts.
Colorado shows blitz for a moment. Lawrence has a big gap. Mike Lawrence will get 11 out to the 29-yard line. Steve Roscoe, the free safety, had to make the play. You know, Kansas State has come to Boulder 25 times over the years. They've won exactly twice. The last time being in 1973.
Yeah, they've lost 10 in a row to Colorado here, and Mike Lawrence, that's what they're going to have to do, is run right at the outside linebackers a little bit, try to soften the perimeter up in the running game some.
He lost his fullback, and Lawrence hopped over Goolsby. It's tough to run that lead draw, Dave, when the fullback's in the backfield.
Yeah, and he's got his shoe spatting, and that's a tough thing now. On this type of field, as you take a look at Goolsby, and Lawrence has the same thing. Look at the tape that they've got on their ankles right over their shoes. Now that's taken away some of the traction. You see they've got the wet turf spikes on. A lot of little cleats on the bottom of those shoes, but when you have those spats, sometimes it takes away some of the traction, and we're going to have to evaluate that a little bit. Goolsby went down because of his spat.
Lockett's to the top. Cavanaugh looking toward Lockett. Now goes down the middle. He has his tight end. This is Jared Grossdidier. He'll be a couple of yards shy of a first down, wrapped up by Rashidi Barnes.
Well, I know Kansas State brought a broad selection of shoes, but Kevin Lockett right here, as he goes into his cut, he starts to slip slide. These guys look like they're running on ice. They're just on eggs out there, walking on eggs. Now, that's a pretty good job right there of running a route, getting airborne and securing the football by Gross-Didier, and that's an area of the football field that he may be able to exploit. With all the attention they're paying to Lockett, the middle of the field may be able to be exposed.
Well, Dave, I thought it was a couple of yards shy. It's close enough actually for a measurement. And while the officials do that, it's going to be a little bit short. We go down to Lisa Molosky. Lisa.
Dave, you were talking about the shoes, and I've got an example of what exactly they're wearing. These are called Destroyers. I talked with both teams. They are both wearing these particular shoes, and they do have the little longer spike because, as you said, Dave, the field is ice cold. It is frozen and hard. They say that these little spikes will go in a little bit to give them a little extra traction. Guys, back to you.
I'll tell you, in a game like this, I've played on fields like this, Drew, and really, the people that can keep their weight over their feet and stand upright, the one that stands upright wins this game.
They don't need much, and they're not going to get it because, again, just as you were talking about, Goolsby fell down, and they say the ball was loose.
Colorado's saying they got it.
Cavanaugh wanted to give it to his fullback, but he slipped down again.
Well, you know, ice skates on, because these guys are having a heck of a time standing up. And as the temperature drops here, as the night wears along, it's going to be tougher and tougher. And I think I'd get rid of anybody that's got spats on their ankles all over those shoes, have tape over the shoes. I'd get rid of that. Take a look right here again. You know, a good exchange on the snap. Look, the running back, Goldsby's the man. It's a straight dive, and he's flat in his face. He better go change his shoes to those destroyers if he's not wearing them, because right now the turf is destroying him.
Caused Kansas State an opportunity to keep the drive alive, and this is a bad punt. Garcia off the side of his foot, but this too takes a good roll for the Wildcats. So the punters have been fortunate with the rolls. 12:38 to go, second quarter. 6-0 Colorado.
I'm using a yellow humpy on 4X tippet.
If we can get by creek, we'll take the 5A crown.
No goal. He was in the crease.
He got the whole shot on me, but I blew by him through the tracks.
The Denver Post is the official newspaper of the Fan because we speak every fan's language.
I took it to the glass, and I gave that guy a facial.
Call 832-3232. Buy 6 months, get 6 months free. Easier to hold, easier to read. Every day by 6 a.m. The Denver Post. More of a newspaper.
Yep, going skiing in my new Alpine Jetta, exclusively from Continental Volkswagen, on my new K2 skis, with my new Thule ski rack, which is on top of my new Alpine Jetta, driving to the Cascade Hotel in Vail, where I'll be getting 2 nights for absolutely nothing. Okay, get your 97 Alpine Jetta exclusively from Continental Volkswagen for just $199 a month, and you'll get all this cool stuff. Continental Volkswagen on Broadway and Orchard. So go to Continental.
I'm using a yellow humpy on 4X tippet.
If we can get by creek, we'll take the 5A crown.
No goal. He was in the crease.
He got the whole shot on me, but I blew by him through the tracks.
The Denver Post is the official newspaper of the Fan because we speak every fan's language.
I took it to the glass, and I gave that guy a facial.
Call 832-3232. Buy 6 months, get 6 months free. Easier to hold, easier to read. Every day by 6 a.m. The Denver Post. More of a newspaper.
Colorado leading 6-0. The snow continues to fall, albeit lightly, but it has affected Colorado's game plan. They wanted to throw the football to set up the run.
They did. They wanted to throw the ball early, and the weather conditions here precluded that.
They fake to Lyndon Henry. Detmer has time. He has Caruth at midfield. Caruth to the 43-yard line.
And a flag throw may be coming back. Maybe a hold. See if this one's coming back or not. You know, on this football field, you cannot overextend. You can't run with a body lead. That big play is being nullified by a penalty, an Achilles heel for Colorado the first half of the football season. And what you have to do is you have to stay over your feet. You have to stand almost upright. Once you have any type of a body lean, you're going down.
On the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the ball. Repeat the down.
That wipes out a 32-yard gain.
Take a look at Caruth. He knows where he's going, and he still almost goes down to the turf. But excellent route, because Kansas State was faked out. Denmark was still running down the football field. He thought Caruth was running a goal pattern. Caruth broke it off, almost slipped when he broke it off, but the whole thing is null and void due to holding penalty, self-destruction by Colorado, which, once again, the first half of the season was a recurring problem, penalty.
First and 27 in college football. You mark it from where the foul took place. And Lyndon Henry stacked up in the backfield. Niall Wyron leading the charge. And Colorado going the wrong direction. You know, they're so impressive in that opening drive with Herschel Troutman on the ground. He scored from 27 yards away in a flash, but since that time both offenses have been staggered.
Well, I think that's due to the continued temperature decline. The field's getting worse and worse. These guys are having a more difficult time standing up, and this frozen field negates Colorado's team speed. This really is an advantage for Kansas State. It hurts Colorado, I think, more than it hurts Kansas State.
Detmer again under pressure, steps up, now will run. Boy, Detmer gets himself in the air at the 22-yard line, and if folks have not followed Colorado football before, wishes he would slide.
Yeah, you got to be smarter than that, though. I mean, I really respect his courage, but Chapman could have drilled him to the turf, and it would have been opened up a new can of Corey Detmer, and into the football game comes Hessler. I mean, you have to be smarter than that. Take your shots with a little bit more intelligent. Don't be so reckless and really destroy your body. But he almost fell down, Drew. As soon as you go with the forward body lean, you're almost going to fall and hit the turf.
And a timeout called by Kansas State. It's a more manageable third down and 13. An advance of 15 yards by Detmer scrambling. He had a concussion a couple of weeks ago against the University of Texas. And John Hessler, the super backup who threw for 20 touchdowns last year when Detmer went down with an ACL injury against Texas A&M, came in and led them from behind and beat the Longhorns 28-23. So they have two capable quarterbacks, but Rick Neuheisel absolutely loves Detmer. He says he reads defenses like no quarterback I've been around. He kind of reminds Rick Neuheisel of himself, don't you think?
I think he does. You know, he talks about the sixth sense that Corey Detmer has. He's got like a 3D football mind, as Rick Neuheisel does. They can make adjustments without ever having to go to a board and diagram things. They can just communicate verbally. They know exactly what each other is talking about. And Corey Detmer, I think when Rick Neuheisel was talking to Corey Detmer on the sideline, he was probably saying, be a little bit more intelligent about taking those shots. You mentioned the concussion, Drew. You don't want to put yourself in an unnecessary position to get knocked out of this football game. But these guys have a tremendous football IQ. I'll tell you what, they really do. Rick Neuheisel and Corey Detmer, they're on the same page big time.
So here we go, third down and 13. Detmer 4 of 5 in the air. They have a screen set up, and it's well covered by K-State. And Detmer should have thrown that one away. They're going to lose yardage to Lendon Henry. Kansas State was not fooled at all. Travis Oaks read it all the way.
And they really, Henry could never, ever get out in the screen. They jostled him around right away. Look at Ray Caruth as he tries to motion inside to throw a block. He's down on all fours trying to scramble. And look at Kansas State read this screen. Henry gets jostled right there by the down lineman, and he gets jostled at the linebacker level, and they just destroy him. The ball should have been thrown away, as you call it, Drew, and line up and don't take a loss. Line up and punt it away.
Andy Mitchell will punt again, and Chris Canty not showing him a lot of respect. He's inside of midfield. And Mitchell end over end away from Canty. And again, it takes a pretty good hop for Colorado. He's going to roll dead inside the 35-yard line. A punt of 46, and most importantly for Colorado, a net of 46. Let's take a look at the bowl picture for the Big 12 Conference. Again, you need 6 Division 1A wins. Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas State, and Texas Tech have all qualified. The University of Texas and the Aggies of A&M still alive. The rest of the conference has been eliminated in the inaugural season.
Well, Baylor's knocked out today with their loss to Missouri. Missouri was eliminated before today's action. Here's Ray Caruth trying to figure out how to keep his feet, as is everybody on this icy field.
3-step drop, and there's Lockett wrapped up right at the 40-yard line, an advance of 5 or 6, grabbed by Damon Wheeler.
You know, usually, Drew, when you're a player or a coach, and there's such an important football game, you'd like to play it in just ideal conditions. And right now, it's far from ideal conditions. It looks like you're in the Arctic right now. It's below 0 with the wind chill temperature-wise. The field is frozen. Man, it's just it reminds you of the middle of January.
You remember the coldest place you played, Dave, in 10 years in the NFL?
Do I ever, boy? I played in that Freeze Bowl game at Riverfront Stadium. 59 below wind chill. That's the coldest I've ever been in my life.
Short sleeves, or did you put the long ones on?
Short sleeves like a bunch of dummies.
Cavanaugh with time, nearly intercepted. Breaking on the football was Wheeler in front of Kevin Lockett. It'll set up a 3rd down. That was very close to being 6 points the other direction.
Well, this is the 4-2 defensive set. Wheeler is the shadow on Lockett. Damon Wheeler was a running back in high school. He's got tremendous quickness. Once again, Johnson trying to shotgun snap a rock, and Kavanaugh having a trouble fielding that brick. But there's the shadow right there. He is going to be on Kevin Lockett's hip pocket when they're in the 6 defensive back configuration.
3rd down and 5. Kavanaugh looks to Lawrence, now goes the other direction, and he one-hops it toward Jimmy Dean, and K-State will have to punt the football.
You know, there's Kavanaugh trying to get that hand warm as he comes to the sideline. And a key in a game like this, I can't emphasize it enough. Kavanaugh has a pretty good sized hand. Look at him grip that football. He's got a good part of the football consumed by his hand, although the ball does sail on him on his release. In that 59 below game I was talking about, Drew, Kenny Anderson executed well in that weather because he has an enormous hand. Dan Fouts had problems because he's got a small hand. Dave Craig couldn't have played in that game because his hand is way too small.
Garcia to Nunez. He wants the fair catch, and he makes it at the 20-yard line. Dimitri Denmark right there, close, and evidently too close. We'll come back, sort out the flag when we return to Boulder.
Silver Bullet is shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies.
Good boy.
The new Coors Light Wide Mouth can is here with a giant opening for a smoother pour.
Passport.
Yes.
Bridgestone is about to change the way you feel about driving on ice. We're at an ice rink to show you a breakthrough in tire technology. The Blizzak Ice Tire, the first winter tire with Bridgestone's patented multi-cell compound, designed to bite through snow and stick to ice. In fact, at only 30 miles per hour, a set of Blizzaks stop 35 feet shorter than a set of popular all-season radials. Blizzak from Bridgestone. If you're not using them, what's stopping you?
From the Peerless Tire, we'll go the extra mile.
Here in Boulder, Colorado, Folsom Field. I'm Lisa Milosky. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Colorado up 6-0 with 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Time now for our Southwest Airlines storyline. Colorado first drive, 8 plays, 63 yards. Troutman, they are running the ball tonight, the Colorado Buffaloes. Frozen field, though, playing conditions 16 degrees when we kicked off. It continues to get colder. Let me tell you, it's cold here in the field. Back to you two. Dave, Drew.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Colorado with it at the 27-yard line, and a big opening for London Henry. He'll get to midfield, and a flag comes in. Chris Canny goes running over to the linesman to talk to him. The flag flew in around the 43-yard line. You wonder if it was an illegal block of some sort, though Canny, and now arguing his case, is Mark Semino.
Well, there's holding down the football field, and it's going to be at the end of the run. It's not going to go back to the line of scrimmage. Take a look right here. Canty is tied up in the face mask.
10 yards from the spot of the ball, and keep it down.
Up in the face mask of Phil Savoy, but they got Savoy for the hold for the takedown. So the penalty is marked off from the end of the journey by Henry, so it negates a pretty good sized gain.
It's kind of strange. It's actually 1st down and 4. It works as a 6-yard gain
instead of a 16
for Colorado,
right?
Instead of a much longer run. 8:26 to go in the first half. 6-0 Colorado. They have been much criticized 8-1 team. Rick Neuheisel says we've reached a level where winning isn't good enough. We have to win pretty every week. And there's been a lot lot of articles over the last month, and Colorado's not winning pretty enough. Option look, now Detmer to throw it. He's looking for Caruth. He's well covered, and he almost made the catch on the adjustment.
And upset, and probably rightfully so, is Clyde Johnson. He feels that Caruth interfered with his opportunity to try to make an interception on the play. And they tried a little play action fake off the option. Caruth runs a little bit of a slant pattern, and they're in a zone defense. Kansas State playing 30-40% zone in this, and that's what Johnson's complaining about. Caruth escorted him out of the way of the football to make a play on it. Johnson said, hey, I have a fair opportunity to make an interception. You can't just throw me around like that. That should be offensive pass interference. No call, though.
Darren Fisk comes in as the fullback. Lyndon Henry gets the toss, and Henry puts his shoulders down and will get to the 35-yard line. It's about a yard shy of a first down. He was met in the hole by Mark Simino. They'll rotate their running backs. You'll see Troutman, and then you'll see Henry, who's a little bit bigger than Troutman, and watch the contact after a couple of yards.
And I'll tell you, in cold weather, that hit hurts worse in cold weather. Believe me, when you get hit with a bare arm in this type of weather, it stings like you get stung by about 50 bees. I'll tell you what, it's really tough.
Two tight ends, Herschel Troutman, the single setback, counter Trey. Troutman won't get there. Simino defeated the block and submarined Troutman. It's a loss of a couple. And the K-State defense rises up again.
Excellent read by Simino and an excellent play by the freshman. Now, this is the candidate to be the third defensive freshman of the year for Kansas State. Simino gets in there. Everything, all the blockers are stripped, and he submarines the ball carrier. But Canty was defensive freshman of the year. Oakes at linebacker was defensive freshman of the year. Simino could be the third in a row.
Chris Canty back at his own 35. And again, it's Andy Mitchell. This a line drive job. Canty trying to stay in bounds. Boy, he's got fancy feet. He's still going. Chris Canty trying to get to the wall. He won't get there. Terrell Cade on special teams makes the tackle. He ran 40 to get 5.
You know what? It must be the shoes, because he had no trouble slip sliding away at all, and he stayed over his feet.
Not Cade, it was Mike Phillips on the tackle. 6-0 Colorado.
The game of hockey has long been a study in contrasting styles. There's the thinking man's game, marked by resourcefulness and finesse. However, a veteran like Keith Tkachuk knows certain situations require a more physical style, wherein brute force reigns supreme. Experience teaches a player what style can be used to his full advantage.
Joe Sakic and the Avalanche clash with Keith Tkachuk and the Coyotes Wednesday at 7 on Fox Sports Rocky Mountain.
It was a sign. Them zeros. What do they mean? 4 zeros. Then it all made sense. I was to buy me a new Mitsubishi big screen, big tube, or VCR at KC Fine Furniture. 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest, 0 till 1998.
$29.99 for this 4-piece Oak Home theater system and 50-inch Mitsubishi TV is out of this world. Only at KC Fine Furniture.
Hey, help me figure this out. Usually the more gizmos you want, the more money you gotta spend. Then there's a Chevrolet Cavalier. It gives you a lot of the same gizmos that make expensive cars easy to live with, for about half the price. If you forget to lock your doors, the Cavalier is still protected by a gizmo called a theft deterrent system. If you leave your dome light on, it turns it off. My house doesn't even do that. Get the car that's easy to own, a Cavalier. Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust.
Two teams that average more than 32 points a game, but it's been a defensive football game. Colorado had the football and scored on their first possession. They missed an extra point, and since then, it's been the battle of the punts on a cold, cold night in Boulder. Though that gentleman is oblivious to the weather.
Yes. Some antifreeze in the system.
Kansas State at the 30-yard line. They fake to Goolsby. This is batted down, and it is nearly intercepted.
It is.
No, it hit the turf.
Boy.
You know, the ball gets lost in the mass of humanity, and for an official to figure that out, well, you have to have a good pair of eyes, but I think it hit the turf.
I tell you what, the key thing that Colorado did tonight was score early, because it is getting brutal. Look at Goolsby, can't get to the line of scrimmage as he's sliding around. Defensive lineman, down lineman gets airborne, and I think it was Ziegler that got up and knocked that ball down. And it's going to be tough to score. I mean, the frozen field has got a myriad of unassisted tackles tonight already.
Dean and Lockett. Lockett's in the slot to the top. 5-step drop, blitz coming. They got it to Lawrence in the flat. And he is taken down by the strong safety Ryan Black, a former walk-on.
You know, it was amazing. The blitzer came clean and slipped. Kavanaugh slipped without any contact. You just can't remain on your feet on this field.
Goolsby has slipped getting started at least 4 times in the game, and it caused Kansas State to miss a 3rd and inches opportunity.
The key in this game was scoring early. I think it's going to get tougher and tougher to get that done.
Colorado a little confused defensively. They're going to have to call a timeout. Colorado had too many people on the football field. They tried to make a late substitution, and they got the timeout just before Kansas State snapped the football. 5:35 to go in the second quarter. We were talking about the criticism that Colorado has undergone this year. At the start of the year, Rick Neuheisel said we can win a national championship, and he still believes they have a chance to be where everyone wants them to be.
Although there aren't very many people out there in the media that believe it, we still have a chance to have everything that we shot for at the outset of the season still come to fruition. So we're hopeful that we can stay together, keep focusing one at a time, and if we do, then who knows, we might be right where we wanted to be in come January.
You know, Rick Neuheisel is one of the loosest guys you'll ever meet. He's the 3rd youngest coach in Division 1A football. He's a joy to visit with. He sings on his coach's show, plays the guitar. He takes his kids during the summer, during fall camp. He'll take them canoeing. He'll take them golfing. He does all sorts of things not normally associated with college football. As you look at the North Division standings, Nebraska unbeaten. Their next game will be the Buffaloes on the 29th in Lincoln. Here we go, 3rd down and 3 for K-State. Double tight end formation. Quick out, off. This is Wheeler. And he stayed in, out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Damon Wheeler nearly had to pick the last series. He just squatted on the quick out.
That's the shadow. That's Kevin Lockett's shadow. And they say that Wheeler is the quickest defensive back Colorado has to offer. A former running back, the same high school as Ray Caruth. And he's just locked in on Lockett. Just steps right in front, makes a break on the football, and it's off to the races, and just taken out of bounds. Good call. Both his left and right foot stepped out of bounds at the 14-yard line, but a huge takeaway by the Colorado defensive football team.
You know what? He looked like a running back once he caught the football. That was a pretty good catch.
It was a great catch, and in the way he ran, you know, you have to keep a wide base on a frozen field. You can't run like a sprinter. You have to run more like a lineman and keep a wide base so you can stay on your feet. He did a good job of doing that.
They go to Trotman up the middle, and he is swarmed under by Jerome Evans. And at 305 pounds, Evans, number 98, can definitely swarm you under. He's from Waco, Texas, the home of the Baylor Bears. Damon Wheeler, an interesting story. He's a true freshman. We pointed out, Ray Caruth was a running back in high school. Now he's an All-American wideout.
Right.
He broke Caruth's high school rushing record in the city of Sacramento.
Right. What is it, Victory High School?
It's a good name, appropriate name for those guys. Nobody home in the backfield on 2nd down and 9. Anderson in motion. 6 coming. End zone shot. Out at the 1 is Trotman.
Half-yard line. Just out of bounds. 1st and goal.
And that was a great read by Coy Detmer. He got Trotman on a linebacker Fogel.
Well, in motion, comes to the wide side. Anderson will come in motion. It's an empty backfield, and Detmer brings him in motion across. And watch, Kansas State is in man coverage. Canty's following him. So they overload the right side. Detmer comes back to the left, where he's got man coverage. He's got his running back on a linebacker. That's a matchup in the red zone they like.
Detmer takes it himself. Touchdown, Colorado. So they convert in 3 plays after the interception from David Wheeler.
Well, Colorado, their 2 big plays, besides the touchdown run, had been nullified by penalty. Colorado, since they missed the extra point, is going to go for 2 to get back on schedule. Now, if they convert, great. If not, they've only got 12 points on the board. That missed extra point changes your thought process. You're going to go for 2 right here. You know, Wade's done a nice job at left tackle crew. He's filling in for Andrew Welsh, and Aaron Wade has done a fine job up front.
He has. Caruth comes in motion and stops. Now he continues. Trotman's the running back. They throw to Caruth, and it's knocked away by Canty. Canty with the great recovery speed slapped it away. So it is 12-0 Colorado with 4:38 to go before halftime. 14-yard drive took just 50 seconds after just the 5th interception of the season against 18 touchdowns for Brian Cavanaugh. We told you, he has been near flawless, particularly since the Nebraska game.
Yeah, he had a deflected interception against Kansas, I believe. That's the only interception he's had since that Nebraska game. And he's had 10 touchdown passes, now 2 interceptions. But, you know, the extra point, the 2-point conversion was a great matchup. Ray Caruth, arguably the best receiver in the country, working against Canty. And here's a great play by Wheeler, the shadow. Lockett, he's got Wheeler in his hip pocket. Wheeler does a nice job of stepping right in front of Lockett, reading the route and closing on the football. And here's the matchup in the red zone. Running back on linebacker. Trotman on Fogel. Pretty good coverage by Fogel. What a great throw by Corey Detmer. You can't drop the ball in there any nicer than that. And Corey Detmer finishes it off with a little quarterback sneak. A plunge. He kind of cozied up in there right next to Naoli. And just ended up over the goal line in the end zone. But what a throw that Detmer had in this weather to Troutman, because Fogel, although he was beaten, it wasn't by a wide margin. Just excellent execution by the quarterback.
And of course, Troutman not the largest target to throw to at 5'7". Chris Canty is the man that Bill Snyder wants to have handle the football. Leslie, barefoot and all, kicks this one, and it is in the direction of Jimmy Dean from the 10. And Dean will get to the 25-yard line, and that's where Kansas State will try to get something rolling in the final 4:32 of the first half. Cavanaugh, final instructions from the guy who was the offensive coordinator for 10 years under Hayden Fry at the University of Iowa. And when they took that program over, Iowa was in poor shape. They had a long string of losing seasons. Then they went to 8 straight bowl games. So Bill Snyder, if you need to turn a program around, you hire that guy.
Yeah, he knows what it takes. 17 straight losing seasons at Iowa. Then they go to 8 straight bowl games. And he comes to Kansas State, and already in the 90s, they've got 30 more wins. 31 more wins, I should say, than they had in the 80s. And the 90s are only a little more than halfway concluded. So Bill Snyder has turned this program into a perennial power in college football.
Cavanaugh out of the gun. Looks to Lockett, knocked down. And if the big fella had mix, Aaron Marshall might be running with the football. Kevin Lockett, they tried to get a little slip screen to him. Davey has 2 catches, just 11 yards.
Well, Cavanaugh is the one that took a heck of a shot right here, and that's legal. Nothing illegal about that. You know, it's football, and it's a continuation of play. Ryan Olson said, if I'm going to work my way free into the backfield, I'm going to get rewarded for that. And he gave the shot to Cavanaugh, completing less than 50% of his passes. He's got 1 interception. It's a tough night to throw the football through. It's hard to control the ball and hard to catch it.
And again, one of your keys, they had to get the football to Lockett. Just 2 for 11.
And they wanted to lock Lockett up. Colorado did. They've done a good job.
They blitz. And Cavanaugh has to hit the deck. They came on the edge. They say a fumble. And the referee comes in and says the ball was down. Marcus Washington on a corner blitz. defense.
Right, he came off the slot, and they're in that 4-2-6 configuration once again. You know, they feel comfortable that they can stop the running game by sacrificing one of the linebackers because they got the lead and they feel that Kansas State's going to have to throw the football. Marcus Washington comes off the slot unblocked. Kavanaugh assumes a fetal position, loses control of the football, but the official ruled that he was already down, had given himself up. It included the play, no turnover, but a big loss in yards.
Lockett comes in the slot. Andre Anderson has yet to make a catch. He's out wide to the near side, 3rd and 17. Again, pressure coming. They screen to Lawrence. The backside, Lawrence takes a big shot. Ryan Olsen, who was the one who applied the pressure. The Buffaloes playing tremendous defense.
What a series by Olsen. He got the hit on Kavanaugh, and then he came with the tomahawk chop. He tried to knock that ball free. Tremendous inside-out pursuit by the interior defensive lineman. You got a nose guard with 6.5 sacks. That's a football player.
James Garcia will punt it. And Ryan Nunez back at his own 40. Colorado will get the football in what you'd assume will be good field position with plenty of time to operate, and leading 12-0.
Bill Snyder is he's confused about something. I think the Kansas State coaches think the clock is in error.
Clock winding down to 4, and they just do get the snap off. And this is a returnable punt. Wow. Nunez made a mistake. That was a line drive punt. He failed to come up and field it, and it rolls all the way to the 20-yard line. So a monster booth, 56 yards. They haven't been big spirals. They've gotten a lot of kind rolls tonight.
26 yards he lost in field position by letting that hit the turf. It rolled 26 yards.
Let's check in again with Lisa Molosky. Lisa.
Well, guys, the Colorado Buffalo defense doing a great job there. And I'll tell you what, 10 of the guys out there have these decals on the backs of their helmets. They are called the Buffalo Elite. 10 of the guys are picked each season. It could be up to 16 guys who do the job both on and off the field. Very prestigious. Keep an eye out for these decals, including Matt Russell's out there, Steve Roska. So it's a very high prestigious role for those guys. Here we go back to the field. Drew?
Yeah, they don't just give those away. Detmer scrambles. Detmer has his tight end. And look at this. Tennyson McCarty running over people. Picks up 9 or 10. He was about the 5th choice on that particular play for Detmer.
Well, he really was. And watch what Hefner does. He can change Wyron. He slow blocks. Then he releases late. Wyron rushes the quarterback, and then Hefner is off to the races. Or I should say McCarty is off to the races. And Detmer did a heck of a job just being able to get rid of this football, because look at, still problems up the football field. Caruth locks up with Denmark, and they both go to the turf. Detmer, though, evaded a defensive lineman from Kansas State that had come in clean, evaded him, and he slipped off into oblivion, and Detmer got the football out to his big tight end, McCartney.
He had a brother, Eric McCarty, was quite a linebacker here for Colorado. They run the fade. Caruth, good coverage. Denmark, who is the fastest player for the Wildcats, stride for stride. I'd like to see a 100-meter dash between those two guys.
I think that this field condition negates the advantage that Caruth has. I really do. I mean, he's run supposedly a sub-4 240, but Denmark is with him stride for stride there. Caruth knew he had no opportunity to work his way back inside to make the play on that football. Nice effort by Denmark, but I'll tell you, Caruth keeps doing that, he can wear you down. That goal pattern will wear you out.
1:55 to go. Inside give, Troutman chugging away. This will produce about 8 yards. Mario Smith will get credit for the stop. Pretty good blocking, the point of attack. Chris Sodden's in there and made a good block.
Well, this this is kind of an ideal field for Troutman. Look at him in the huddle. He's about 18 feet shorter than everybody else. I mean, the guy has got that short, squatty body type, and he's able to keep his balance very well. Kind of hides in there amongst his offensive line. Look, if you're a defensive player, you can't find the guy. And all of a sudden, he's thumping it up in there with some leg drive and some power. He's able to keep his balance in this icy field.
Colorado taking plenty of time here. They are in a 2-minute drill, you would assume, but they consume about 23 seconds on the play clock and then burn the timeout. And there is 1:12 to go, and Colorado's out of timeouts. They're facing a short yardage play at the 41-yard line. They need a couple for the first down.
You know, as you look at Bill Snyder, one thing his team did well, amongst many things coming into today's game, they were +9 in the giveaway takeaway. That was amongst the best in the country. Right now, though, they're +8. They're -1 tonight. That interception that was executed it turned into a touchdown. So the takeaway resulted in 6 points. They couldn't convert the 2-point conversion, but the turnovers tonight in this type of weather, in this type of frozen field, are humongous. And Drew, I'm surprised we haven't had more fumbles, quite honestly.
Yeah, because the ball is so slick. And we've had the one interception. The ball's been on the ground a couple of times. Bill Snyder doesn't like to talk about it, but his program has knocked off everybody in the old Big 8. He's done well against Texas Tech and Texas A&M this year. The only two teams he has been unable to beat, Nebraska, he is 0-8 against, in Colorado, 0-6-1.
Right.
And he feels to get to the next level, his club has to knock off one of the big two from the old Big 8.
Right. He's in the top 10 right now. But Colorado and Nebraska are a little higher in the top 10 than he is.
Third down and a couple. Troutman, counter tray, penetration again. He won't get there. Thad Schweizer, Deshaun Fogel. Well, you talk about running backs having trouble getting their feet. Dave, you're one of those big offensive linemen. When you got to pull, that's got to be a problem on a field like this.
Well, it is. You feel like a dancing bear, and the guy that gets the penetration, watch Travis Oaks right there. Travis Oaks makes Troutman run into his own blocker, and he's disruptive. Oaks gets in there, he penetrates, he disrupts, and then everybody else from Kansas State finishes it off, most emphatically by Fogel. But Oaks did a nice job of getting his helmet in there between a couple of offensive linemen and disrupting the play.
I'll tell you what, that was a big series for the Kansas State defense, because Colorado had it out their own 40-yard line. Enough time to produce more points. If they do produce more points, you might be behind by 3 scores if you're a Wildcat.
And obviously, we've already seen a mixed extra point. These field conditions are brutal for place kickers because you slip with your plant foot. If you're a right-footed kicker, your left foot, planting that foot comfortably and accurately is key. They're going to go up there, and you know, when you transfer that weight, a lot of times I've seen kickers just go flat on their back because their plant foot just slides right out from under them. So you have to change the emphasis with which you go after that plant foot. Everything's decelerated, and it's hard to kick the football in this weather. There's no doubt about it.
Andy Mitchell again will punt. He was the starter at the beginning of the season. Then Nick Peach took over after a few ball games. And Rick Neuheisel opened up not only the punting competition this week, but also the place kicking competition. He said, if one is ineffective in the game, he said, I like my guys, I love my guys, but I'm not afraid to pull one, and he's done that tonight.
And Mitchell's kicked a couple of knuckleballs, but he's got a nice roll. Another one.
This is a shank job. But again, it takes a Colorado bounce. It's out of bounds at the 22-yard line. We were talking a moment ago about Bill Snyder and the importance of beating Colorado or Nebraska. Well, they've already lost to Nebraska this year. Tonight, a big game.
Well, it makes us, it gives us one less loss, one more win. You know, it probably makes a lot of people happy. That, particularly our seniors, I think. You know, here's a football team with a group of seniors that hasn't beaten this football team, and that would be important for them, I think. You know, obviously it does some things in the national rankings, and certainly it's going to do some things in terms of bowl opportunities at the conclusion of the season.
They tied Colorado a couple of years ago. They were in good shape last year, and then John Hessler led the Buffs on an 80-yard drive late. They've been close, but have not been able to get over the top. Kavanaugh throwing to the outside and wide of his intended target, Jimmy Dean. So 33 ticks left and 1 timeout for the Wildcats. Kansas State, they've been to 3 straight bowl games. The Independence Bowl back in 1982. They have never played on New Year's Day, and I think that could come to the end, come to an end this year.
There's a strong possibility, and once again, though, you really have to tip your cap and salute the efforts of a lot of people, Bill Snyder in particular, but a lot of supporting cast to turn that state program around.
And Kavanaugh put a knee down. Yeah. There's about 4,500 fans here from in and around Manhattan, Kansas. They have traveled very well, and that particular play didn't sit well.
Well, Bill Snyder says, hey, let's just go back and regroup in the locker room with this field position. Don't want to give the football away again. No more turnovers. Let's go in with a 12-point deficit and try to get things turned around. They basically have just said, that's the half.
And one of the reasons is Kansas State not going off the field, as is their custom. They call it the Cat Pack. They get together. Unity, so important, especially when they took the program over. Stay together, whether you win or lose, and they come together.
Away. I mean, it's almost like you're going to get skates on to handle this ice rink out here. The guys that stay on their feet are the ones that are going to win this football game. And, you know, surprisingly enough, you have to really give credit to these two football teams because neither team has lost a fumble. They've each fumbled once. There's only 1 interception. Now, play keep away, Kansas State really hasn't been able to get that done. They have corralled Crew. He's got 2 catches for 15 yards, but that's been the field more than anything. And they really haven't put all that excessive pressure on Coy Detmer. But I'll tell you, the field is the story in this football game.
Rick Neuheisel knows that Big 12 country, you have to be able to run the football, particularly in November, because you get weather like this, and his running game has been the superior running game.
It has, and they have been able to lock up Kevin Lockett, you know, and once again, the field conditions part of that, but the big interception was huge. The shadow came through Damon Wheeler, and then keep Coy cozy in the pocket. They've been adequate with that, but the pocket's been treacherous because of the icy conditions. And mix it up, they probably mixed it up a little bit because they hoped to throw the ball more early in the game than they did. Weather conditions once again a factor there.
Yeah, you look at the first half numbers. Kansas State scored 80 points the last couple of weeks. A week ago, Colorado scored 49 against Iowa State, but Kansas State nothing in the running game, Dave, and 2 prolific passing attacks. They've been grounded.
Yeah, and basically the story of the first half has been the rushing game. Colorado is able to generate 91 yards, 27 of those a touchdown journey by Troutman, and that's been a big factor in the football game. Kansas State has not been able to get their ground game on track at all.
Jamie Ream to kick it off. Colorado will get the football. This will be Marcus Stiggers from the 12. And he'll get it out to the 30-yard line. So decent field position for Coy Detmer and the Colorado offense. There's Detmer, a senior. Came in clicking on 60% of his passes and closing in on a 3,000-yard throwing season. In fact, he's 4th in the nation in total offense right now, well above 340 a game. And the comparison, modest numbers, obviously.
Well, Detmer, though, completing 70% in these conditions, that's a heck of a deal, but nowhere near the yards. I mean, the guy's been averaging over 9 yards per attempt. Tonight, 5 yards per completion. Big difference.
Strong right formation. They run right. Cimino took a blow from Troutman, but brought him down. Mark Cimino stepped in the hole. He ended up getting decleated. That was quite a collision.
Well, Troutman is 5'7", 195 pounds. Cimino trying to get under his shoulder pads, but he didn't. Troutman, it's a game of physics. Low man wins. If you get your pads under the opposition pads, Cimino didn't get that done. He became the hittee rather than the hitter. But this is a tough kid. I'll tell you what. That's a redshirt freshman that is, once again, the big candidate to be freshman defensive player of the year.
Detmer to throw, blitz coming, they get it away underneath, all kinds of room for Anderson, and it closed down in a hurry because Dimitri Denmark was was able to close the gap. First catch for Anderson. He dropped one earlier, and it is a first down for Colorado out to the 44-yard line.
And that's the play that he dropped. It was the exact same play. Chris Anderson dropped it in the first half. They came back, motioned him toward the formation, ran a route to the middle of the football field. He's a big target, 6'4", 220 pounds. He secured that football to move the chains.
Two tight ends in the game. Toss sweep right up the middle, actually. And again, Semino combining with Fogel to bring down Herschel Troutman. He's averaging better than 10 tackles a game. He's a tough kid. His older brother, Jeff, remember him? Nose tackle at K-State. He was a tough one.
Well, you know, first down rushing in the first half, Drew. Colorado averaged over 6.5 yards on 10 first down rushes. Here in the second half so far, Kansas State has limited their first down rushing attempts to 3 and 2 yards.
Again, the blitz, same look play, and this time it's Phil Savoy. He'll have the first down to the 39-yard line of Kansas State, and that is Savoy's initial catch of the game.
Well, tremendous cushion given to Savoy defensively, and then he slipped and fell to the turf. Denmark, as he tried to redirect himself, went down, and Savoy enjoyed all kinds of separation. Detmer sees it right away, and the ball is airborne immediately. There you see Denmark trying to regain his balance. Savoy has already caught the ball and turning his pad squarely up the football field.
Denver on first down, out route. Caruth catches it. A 4-yard gain to Ray Caruth. That was one of those 35-yard passes. They say Detmer doesn't have a strong arm. He put that one on a line.
Well, he was on the right hash mark, Drew, and he threw the ball to the left sideline. And it's sub-zero weather, and there's some tight RPMs, and that ball is there in a heartbeat. That's what NFL scouts, that pass is how NFL scouts evaluate arm strength. And right there, Corey Detmer gets a passing grade. In fact, I'd give him an A on that toss.
Trips to the top, second down and 6. Colorado on the move, and they have the lead 12-0. Troutman, Thad Swayzer came free from his left end position and gobbled up Troutman. They needed Swayzer to play a big game, and you know he's motivated. He's from Denver and began his career, as we talked about in the first half, at the University of Colorado.
Yeah, what Colorado's doing a pretty good job of is spreading the football field with 3 wideouts, trying to remove one man from the box, and they're getting that done. Trying to hammer the ball up inside, but Kansas State is staying tough. They're up to the challenge.
Caruth's in the slot to the top on third down and 6. They need the 29. Now Troutman departs. And there was enough time on the play clock. There might have been movement on Colorado's side of the ball.
Yeah, a little false start. A little early up front.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
Well, now it'll be third down and 11 instead of third down and 6.
You know,
early in this season, I was going to say, Dave, penalties were prime concern of Rick Neuheisel, but they've done a good job in mitigating the penalties over the last 6 games.
They have, but in the first half, 2 of their longer plays were negated by big penalties, holding penalties, and one of them, 2 of them were very costly.
Blitz coming. Detmer, time breaking down, throwing in a crowd, nearly intercepted by Mario Smith. And another flag comes in. The flag on the near side of the field at about the 41-yard line.
Yeah, Chris Anderson broke his stance early. They're going to call illegal procedure on Chris Anderson leaving the line of scrimmage early.
We did not have a play because we had a dead ball, false start on the offense prior to the snap.
And that was
5 yards, repeat the down.
That was the widest receiver. The widest receiver right in front of the Kansas State bench, Chris Anderson. He gets an early start before the snap of the football, and really all he has to do, he doesn't have to worry about getting off the line of scrimmage that quickly. I mean, all he has to do is move when the ball moves if he's confused about the snap count. That one shouldn't happen.
And you know what? Colorado actually catches a break. They'll have another opportunity to convert. Slot to the top, Phil Savoy to the near side. Detmer throwing the deep ball, and Caruth had a step, but he couldn't close on the football. Pretty good coverage downfield. Clyde Johnson, David Conley nearby.
Well, Koy Detmer could not get his feet in the proper position to deliver this football as accurately as he had hoped. Caruth's running a little bit of a post pattern, has got his defender beaten. He's wide open, but Detmer can't get the ball there accurately enough because he's slip sliding away in the pocket. I mean, he just can't get a firm footing.
Nick Peach, who had the first punt of the game, and then after that, we saw Andy Mitchell. So now it's Peach's turn. Pressure coming, and Peach gets away a pretty good punt. Canny's going to let it go, and it takes a Colorado hop. They'll kill it inside the 10. That's the first football on a punt all evening that didn't take the big hop in the direction that it was punted. A fortunate bounce for Colorado. Kansas State trailing 12-0. Early stages of quarter number 3 in Boulder.
If there's lots of places that you would like to see,
Fly Southwest Airlines, because friends fly free.
fly so you can learn.
Fly so you can earn.
For romance.
Give it a chance.
Fly so you can dance.
Fly so you can cry. Fly so you can yell. Fly because it's something that you were born to sell.
Fly, cause it's America.
From sea to shining sea.
And if you fly Southwest Airlines,
your friend flies free.
Purchase full unrestricted fare by November 20th and a friend flies free.
Steve Young for Power Bar.
Who hasn't eaten a candy bar at the movies? When you're sitting back watching a movie, a candy bar's fine. But life isn't one big movie. That's why there's Power Bar energy bars. They're low in fat, made from healthy foods, packed with nutrients, and deliver lots of complex carbs for sustained energy. So if you want to be ready for the challenges of life, rely on a Power Bar energy bar. It's real energy for the real world.
Together we are better than we could ever be alone. We'll be a team forever. The world is ours to own. You're a part of me. That's the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
The last 32 games when Colorado scored first, they're 31-0-1.
Watch Koy Detmer right here as he works his way back in the pocket. How he slides away a little bit and has to throw off the wrong foot. That's why it's an incompletion.
K-State at their own 8. They go to Lawrence, and Lawrence breaks through to a 20-yard line. They'll move the sticks. Matt Russell made the tackle, and Lawrence is fired up.
Well, Kansas State on first down in the first half, Drew. They had 12 first down opportunities, and they averaged like 2.7 per attempt. That first down opportunity to start the second half, they busted for a first down, so major improvement right there.
Lockett goes to the top. Double tights. Same play the other direction, and not the same result. Billy Mau, the backside tackle, moved over and gobbled up Mr. Lawrence. It'll be no gain on the play, setting up a 2nd and 10. Colorado's defense gave up 42 points last week and more than 200 yards rushing to Troy Davis. But on this slick field, they have been able to shut down Kansas State, both on the ground and in the air. Here's a quick hitter. And Lockett's going to have the first down to the 32-yard line. Roscoe makes the tackle. Check it. It's 22, Jimmy Dean. That was one step and a quick hitch to Jimmy Dean. Senior from Pompano Beach, Florida. One of the places Kansas State has really recruited well, Dave, is Florida. They have 13 players from the state.
Look at that drop right there. Kavanaugh took less than a step. I mean, as soon as he took the snap, he was kind of fading to his left. Get rid of the football immediately, negating that Colorado pass rush. You're right, Drew. They've done a good job in the state of Florida recruiting.
Minimal gain, Ryan Olson. Also Rashidi Barnes, number 40, hitting Mike Lawrence.
You know, both of these football teams are great examples of what a lot of recruiters in college football do. They go to the state of Florida and the state of California to get the speed skill people. Now, Colorado's had a rich tradition of California athletes paying big dividends. And Kansas State has done a good job of going south, the state of Florida, to get some performers there also.
Colorado has 32 players active in the NFL. That's 5th among all schools. Here's Lawrence. He runs into Dalton Simmons, but off another first down. So after being trapped back at their own 8-yard line, this may be the most impressive drive of the game for the Wildcats. Out to the 44.
And they're just hammering the ball off tackle. They're doing a pretty good job of it. Nothing fancy from a blocking scheme. They're not pulling people. They're not running the counter. They're just letting the big offensive linemen come off the football and try to crease the defense a little bit. And Lawrence hammering it up in there pretty well. They're running it at Colorado's outside linebacker, seeing if they can hold up to it.
They'll run it again. And Lawrence has had better success running the other direction. Ron Merkerson will get up last, a 250-pounder from Las Vegas.
Well, I think the reason they've been having a better success running the other direction, Chris Naoli and Melvin Thomas on that right side are doing sorry, I got the wrong ball club out there, but Kansas State's right side of their offensive line with Ryan Young is a little bit more of a drive blocker than Todd Weiner is also. So both teams are right-handed. When they run the counter through, they'll pull the left side lineman to the right side.
Dave, both lines average about 300 pounds. Got to find the center. Brian set up under his left guard.
He did.
There's no football coming there.
And he lost time on it. He had to call the timeout because of that mistake.
You've seen that happen a bunch over the years. When you play with Kenny Anderson, he was your roommate. Did he ever saddle up next to you?
No, he didn't. But you've seen the quarterback in a lot of situations lose track of where the center is. He's lined up over his left. And now, what do you think is going through the left guard's mind right now? Who is that guy? And then Johnson says, they turn around. Jason Johnson says, "Hey, you're supposed to be over here with me." That's hilarious. Both linemen react. Left guard, Kansas State, Ross Greenwood saying, "Hey, you're in the wrong spot."
That's right. Ross Greenwood's not used to having his butt touched. Jason Johnson all of a sudden said, "Nobody's snuggling up to me. Something's got to be wrong."
He said, "This isn't the shotgun. The play wasn't called out of the shotgun. Where's Kavanaugh's hands?" No, he's over there. He's over there with the wrong guy, Mr. Greenwood. Yeah, sometimes brain cramps happen.
Well, this has been an interesting game. It was touted as the 2 best throwing teams in the conference. 2 pretty good defenses, particularly Kansas State's has been outstanding through much of the year. But it has turned out to be a game of who can run the football better and who can hold on to it. And Dave, I think maybe the biggest surprise so far through 2.5 quarters is that there's been only 1 turnover.
Right. Both teams have fumbled the football through, but they didn't lose possession of the ball. The 1 interception has been big by Damon Wheeler. But, you know, the footing's a lot better, Drew. They brought the brushed Zamboni out at the half and chopped up a lot of that ice. The football field's a lot better than it was in the first half due to that halftime use.
Colorado rushes forward down the middle, and Lockett is taken off his feet by Ryan Black after a 3-yard gain, and that is just the 3rd catch of the game for the All-American Kevin Lockett.
Yeah, Lockett got pounded as well as Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh took the shot after he delivered the football. Colorado, with the significant pressure, Jones gets a good piece of Kavanaugh, takes him to the turf, and Lockett, he has to pay after the reception. Makes a good catch of the football, and then his legs taken right out from under him by Ryan Black.
Lockett the slot to the top. 3rd down and 6. Out of the gun, Kansas State. They run the shuttle. Lawrence has a big opening. And he'll have the first down to the 44 of Colorado. Well designed.
Well, Jason Johnson is the center for the Kansas State Wildcats. Watch him on this play. He does a little bit of a full block around both his guard and tackle and gets a piece of the linebacker out on the perimeter. That's Rashidi Barnes. Lawrence utilizes that block, maneuvers inside, picks up the first down. Nice effort by Jason Johnson to pull out in front.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Here's the draw. Lawrence. He'll be inside the 40. Give him 7 yards, maybe 8 to the 36. Now he's starting to get a rhythm. And all good running backs, they need to get a rhythm.
And Drew, I can't emphasize how much better the shape the field is in after that brush Zamboni came out and did its thing. And it took it all the way to the sideline. In the first half, from the numbers to the sideline, was treacherous. That machine has done a good job of clearing this field off, and the guys are playing at such a much higher tempo and more recklessly because they can keep their feet.
This is Marlon Charles, the backup.
He tripped over Kavanaugh.
Russell finished him off.
Marlon Charles and Kavanaugh, their feet locked up. And as a result of that, Charles took it to the turf. It wasn't really a slip. It was a trip by the quarterback.
So it'll be 3rd down and 1 as the clock moves inside 6:20 to go in the 3rd quarter. Goolsby and still Marlon Charles, the tailback. His first time on the field tonight. They go to Charles, and I believe he'll have the first down. That second effort, the little pirouette, got him enough. So Kansas State getting it done primarily on the ground. And one of the things that has helped not only the fact that they cleaned the field up, but it's not snowing any longer.
Right. And Goolsby gets a nice lead block on a down lineman. I mean, he does a pretty good job and hammers it up inside on Mike Phillips, actually outside linebacker. Goolsby gets it started. Ryan Black trying to fill and make a hit. Second effort by the running back really was the reason for the first down.
Lockett in the slot inside Anderson at the top. Offset eye. Kavanaugh, little boot. In the flat, complete, minimal gain. Hauled in by Goolsby out of the backfield. This guy Goolsby was a defensive end in the spring. Pretty good fullback now.
He's a load. Little play action fake. Then when you've been able to run the ball successfully as they have on this drive, you know, when you put the ball in the belly of your running back, it freezes the linebackers and gives you a little bit of territory to operate the play action fake. Yeah, Goolsby's a load. I mean, this kid, he's basically a glorified hog. He's like an extra offensive lineman back there in the backfield. He doesn't run it much. He likes to knock linebackers around.
Matt Kavanaugh changing up. Blitz coming. Lawrence will get a couple. Rashidi Barnes made the tackle. There's an extra defensive back. Colorado playing a lot of nickel and even some dime tonight.
Yeah, Goolsby had another nice lead block. I mean, this guy, you can really count on him getting his hat on somebody. You know, he'll at least get his hat on a guy in stalemate, a defensive player. 9 times out of 10, he's knocking him backwards. He's been a big key on this drive to success running the football.
3rd down and 4. Tight formation. Straight ahead, Lawrence. Big gap. He stays on his feet, he scores. He falls at the 12. Boy, they're just knocking people out of there up front. Jason Johnson, the center. Jeremy Martin, the right guard at 300 pounds. Ross Greenwood, 300-pound left guard.
I think Hannibal Navies might be the guy that had the touchdown-saving tackle here. Let's take a look. Lawrence busted up the middle. Is it Navies or is it Black? Somebody makes a nice shot at the lower leg of Lawrence, or else he's in the end zone. They've been very patient. Nice job up front by the offensive line, just absorbing everybody on the Colorado front 7.
Here's Damon Wheeler. Now they want to throw it. Man open in the end zone. Oh, bounds.
2 men open.
Yeah, 2 players came together. And Jesse Woodard was the initial target, 47. Actually, Gross-Didier was the initial target. Woodard came down with the football. 2 people in the same zone, and you're right, Dave, they were both open.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be that close together. I mean, one grenade gets both of them. You know, when you run a pass route, you should have a distribution, and they're both on top of each other. There was a brain cramp by one in the route. Gross-Didier and Woodard ended up in the same spot, but you can't run around and have 2 guys holding hands down the football field. Somebody was in error, and it cost him.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. They go to the fullback, and Lawrence, the up back. They fake the end around to the motion man Anderson, and Greg Jones stuffed that play. So it'll be 3rd down and long from the 13-yard line.
Now here's where you think, you might try to outthink yourself a little bit. Do you want to draw here? Is Colorado, is their defensive football team going to be pinning their ears back to Kavanaugh? Probably. But is this too long a distance to pop the draw? Maybe. 16-play drive, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, 79 yards. That's big time.
But they need 6, not 3.
Right.
3rd and 9. Pressure coming. Underneath. Lockett. Plenty of room. Trying to get to the sticks. Great tackle by Dalton Simmons in the open field.
Lockett's hurt.
Lockett's down. And initially, David appeared that he was going to probably get close to the end zone. He ends up being shy of the first down.
He's disappointed, I think, as much as anything. Now, this is a decision, a big decision. Bill Snyder, I say you go for it. I agree with you, Drew. You don't want 3, you want a touchdown. A little crossing pattern. Great catch by Lockett. Full extension catches the back half of the football. But, boy, that's just an awesome defensive effort right there by Simmons. I mean, that's an open field tackle that goes on the training reel right there. Head across the bow. Lockett leaving the football field a little bit nicked up. You got to go for it here, and I don't think you settle for a field goal.
Lockett goes out, and it'll be 4th down and 4. This isn't 4th down and inches. This is a full 4 yards to go. And now, if your best receiver isn't in for this snap, you really have some decisions to make.
The problem is, Drew, that was the 17th play of the drive for over 80 yards. You want to get something out of this drive. You want to get points, but you'd rather get the touchdown rather than the field goal. That's the big decision for Bill Snyder.
And the Wildcats have burned their 2nd time out of the half. Remember that. They have 1 left, and they trail 12-0. We step aside from Folsom Field in Boulder. Back after this, it'll be 4th down and 4 for the Wildcats.
Hello, I'm John Beekner, president of the University of Colorado. You know, it's easy to get the big picture from up here. But here, in the daily life of a university, we face new realities in higher education. Our classrooms can no longer be bounded by walls. Classrooms of the future must extend from cyberspace to the daily challenges of our communities, and from deep space to the inner reaches of each mind. It's a total learning environment. It's the University of Colorado.
I'm in a peak mood. I'm peaking right now. The peak is where you hear the newest music the soonest. You hear the music before it's even been written. Music so fresh, it's crunchy. That's peak music. That is peak music.
96.5, The Peak.
Denver's rock alternative.
Okay, any questions? What kind of a question is that?
Hey, help me figure this out. Usually the more gizmos you want, the more money you gotta spend. Then there's a Chevrolet Cavalier. It gives you a lot of the same gizmos that make expensive cars easy to live with, for about half the price. If you forget to lock your doors, the Cavalier is still protected by a gizmo called the theft deterrent system. If you leave your dome light on, it turns it off. My house doesn't even do that. Get the car that's easy to own, a Cavalier. Genuine Chevrolet. The cars more Americans trust.
The second half is brought to you by Power Bar, fuel for optimum performance. And by the Nicoderm CQ patch. You bring a commitment, Nicoderm CQ brings the rest. With Dave Lapham and Elisa Milosky, I'm Drew Goodman. 2:38 to go, third quarter. Colorado leading 12-0. Kansas State 4th and 4. And here comes the crowd in Boulder. And Lockett is in the game to the top of your screen. Kavanaugh sacked.
Olsen.
Ryan Olsen up the gut.
Huge play. That's his 7.5 sack of the season right there, I believe.
And Kavanaugh is still down.
He took a shot. And I think he hurt himself when he hit the turf. And Bill Snyder talking to Lawrence on the sideline. Maybe Lawrence messed up a blocking assignment because Olsen came clean. I can't imagine that Lawrence was matched up on Olsen, but...
I'm sorry, Dale, I was going to say A.J. Kristoff as Bill Snyder comes out on the field to look at his quarterback. A.J. Kristoff was oozing with praise yesterday, talking about how Ryan Olsen has come on. Kavanaugh, that is good news, up and apparently okay. So Colorado turns away Kansas State. Ryan Olsen, the big play defensively.
Steve Young for Power Bar.
Who hasn't eaten a candy bar at the movies? When you're sitting back watching a movie, a candy bar's fine. But life isn't one big movie. That's why there's Power Bar energy bars. They're low in fat, made from healthy foods, packed with nutrients, and deliver lots of complex carbs for sustained energy. So if you want to be ready for the challenges of life, rely on a Power Bar energy bar. It's real energy for the real world.
Morning number 3, smoke free. Nice going Nicoderm CQ.
Doing fine with no help, thanks.
You want to cheat? No.
Come on, just one.
No.
I hate how calm you are.
That's the CQ.
Only Nicoderm CQ starts you off with the highest level of medicine, a 24-hour stream that's still with you when you wake up.
It helps calm the cravings. You'll see.
Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to quit successfully.
Husky, guaranteed forever, and only at the Home Depot.
The shows.
There are lots of great shows in Las Vegas. I found out a new code.
24/7.
It means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're not kidding.
It's time we said enough is enough. Find out what you can do. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Not one more lost life. Not one more grieving family. Not one more.
Buffalo's up 12-0. Here's a big play to culminate this drive. Olsen gets the penetration in this gap. Bull rushes Greenwood. Lawrence blitz pickup, releases late. Kavanaugh takes a hit. Watch the shot right here. Gets Greenwood back on skates. Olsen separates. Boom. Sack. Big play.
Kavanaugh apparently is okay. Herschel Troutman gets the call. Herschel Troutman into the secondary. He'll get 11. Met by Mario Smith. Kavanaugh, who's tossing the football on the sideline in Kansas State. That is just a devastating situation. They drive the length of the field, 18 plays, and they get nothing for it.
Kavanaugh's a hurting unit. I mean, he's trying to work it out. He took a shot. When Olsen took him to the turf, looked like he landed on the back of his right shoulder, and looks like he's grimacing a little bit with every throw, trying to work the kicks out a little bit. Olsen drove that shoulder into the turf hard.
First down, Colorado. Again, it's Troutman. Not much. Fogle in there. And Jerome Evans. Jerome Evans, a defensive tackle. He had double figures in stops last week against Kansas. You have a down lineman with 10 or more stops, you know they're playing terrific football.
No question.
And the clock starts to be a factor, Dave.
It sure does. Because of the long drive that Kansas State had, you know, they took so much off the clock that it comes up to backfire.
Numbers on Fogle this year. 2nd and 9. Down the middle, great catch. Phil Savoy at the 45-yard line in front of Chris Canny. What a throw by Coy Detmer, and a proud papa in the stands with Lisa Molosky. Lisa.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, I'm here with Sonny Detmer. Well, Sonny, what'd you think of that pass? Nice job.
Well, it was. It's a tough night to throw the ball.
Well, you know, you are from Mission, Texas, and I think when you left it was like 85 degrees. Have you ever been to a game that's this cold?
No, I've never have been. I don't think I've ever been anywhere that's this cold.
Let's go back to the play. Drew, take it away.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Counter Trey, trying to get wide is Troutman. He will not, wrapped up by the free safety. Mario Smith, also Deshaun Fogle. Let me tell you something. Sonny Detmer tutored two pretty fair country quarterbacks. Ty Detmer, who's starring for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Coy Detmer, who's 11 of 15 and will be in an NFL camp next fall.
Well, you know, both these guys undersized, that's the knock. You know, bottom line, they're intelligent quarterbacks, understand the game of football, mechanically sound, great fundamentals, great techniques, and the biggest thing, they have a huge heart, a capital C stamped on that heart for competitor. You know, a wise coach once told me it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog, and the Detmer brothers are great examples.
They do have a lot of fight, and right now the Buffaloes head off to the final chapter, winning the fight. They lead 12-0 over 8-1 Kansas State.
If there's lots of places that you would like to see,
Fly Southwest Airlines, because friends fly free.
fly so you can learn.
Fly so you can earn.
For romance.
Give it a chance.
Fly so you can dance.
Fly so you can cry. Fly so you can yell. Fly because it's something that you were born to sell.
Fly, cause it's America.
From sea to shining sea.
And if you fly Southwest Airlines,
your friend flies free.
Purchase fall unrestricted fare by November 20th and a friend flies free.
Remember when a candy bar used to cost a dime? Nowadays, it seems like you have to use a credit card to pay for just about everything. Unfortunately, credit cards are getting more and more homeowners in trouble. But the Money Store can help you consolidate all of your high-rate credit cards and other loans into one low monthly payment. All it takes is just one phone call, and you could be on your way to saving hundreds each month. You can't buy a candy bar for a dime anymore, but you can call the Money Store toll-free at 1-800-LOAN-YES.
You're the one I can count on. Show me the way. You're a part of me. That's the heart of me. Together we are harmony. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of
From behind the wheel, you might think of Dodge Caravan as a car. Probably because in some ways it is. Its cab-forward, wheels-to-the-corners design makes it stable and sure-footed, a lot like a car. Its advanced suspension makes it nimble and agile, a lot like a car. With all the utility of a spacious four-door van, all of which suggests we got the name right. Caravan. Just as original as the original.
12-0, Colorado over Kansas State. This has been our inaugural season of coverage of the Big 12, and here's a look back at some memorable plays. Kidd had it and lost it, and they're going to say this is incomplete. What a lick from Chris Canny. He's known as a cover guy, but he brought the leather, and that is just another one of the great plays from this first season of Big 12 football. What a conference. And there's so many people to thank who do a great job each week bringing you the games. Mike Helling, our producer, Kevin Shank, the director, Pat McClanahan's the vice president of production, Kevin Landy, our executive producer. Special thank you to Tammy Rippey and Judy Jackson, who run production down in our operation in Houston, Texas. Steve Haas, our associate producer. I'm going to get all these thank yous in, folks. Bear with us. These guys do a wonderful job. Detmer, complete. Caruth, first down at the 42-yard line. What a special throw that was. He was man for man with David Conley, and Caruth won.
He sure did. Release off the line of scrimmage. A little bit of a hole, but Caruth separates. Excellent throw by Detmer. I mean, to get that ball that accurately with that tight of spiral is excellent in this weather. Continuing with some of the guys that give pictures like that. Let's take a look one more time at Ray Caruth. Remember, you got to get 1 foot down in college football. He gets both. Excellent job.
He's just practicing for next year. Troutman, a couple of yards up the middle.
You know, the pictures that we just see, you know, Steve Haas, the associate producer, MJ, Mark Johnson, technical director, the man, David Gray, the production assistant. He does an unbelievable job for us. Rich Birdsong in audio.
Hey, Rich played hurt for a while this year. He fell down the stairs.
That's right.
Before it got icy.
The Purple Heart to the Birdman. And I tell you, it's an unbelievable group. For what they do, it's the offensive line. They do the dirty work. They make us look good up here. Those are the guys that are the real story of the game. They do an unreal job for us.
And that, as we both know, is a tall order. I mean, Lisa looks good. You and I, it's a struggle each week.
Exactly.
How about Mark Vidonic on graphics? Tim Simmons, all year, our statistician up in the booth.
How about Frank Phillips, our technical manager? Big Frank. That dog will hunt right there now.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. And, of course, we want to thank all the sports information directors around the Big 12 Conference.
And, Drew, I'll tell you, the coaches, players, sports information, everybody was unbelievably cooperative. It couldn't have been a more pleasant experience dealing with everyone.
1 minute gone here in the fourth quarter. Colorado 2nd and 7. They have a 12-0 lead. Detmer looking backside, throw. Catch by Savoy. That was a blue dart. And Savoy will have forward progress to the 18-yard line.
He won't go down.
He's still running.
He's fighting it. Savoy. Now here's another big player. This guy's big and physical. 6'3", 195 pounds. And man, Savoy, what an adjustment to the football this guy makes. I mean, the ball is thrown a little bit behind him. Canty's got him in the slot. Savoy beats the bump and run coverage, separates. Look at that adjustment. A 360, and then he gets his shoulder pad square and gets up the football field, and he's not going to go down. It's going to take a multitude of Kansas State Wildcats to bring him down. That's an effort.
You know, when you talk about Caruth and Savoy and Anderson and James Kidd, it's an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position. 1st and 10 at the 18. Colorado, if they score 6 here, they might throw the knockout punch. The Evander Holyfield. They bring Fisk in at fullback. Troutman in the deep eye, straight ahead. And he'll have about 3 to the 15. Lyndon Henry, who normally splits time with Troutman, is done for the evening. He has bruised ribs, so the little man from the state of Florida will have to tote the football the rest of the way.
And if Colorado can pump this into the end zone, it's coffin nails. I mean, they'll be 3 touchdowns ahead, you know, with about 13 minutes or less to play in the football game. This is a monumental drive for the Buffaloes right now. And Kansas State defensively, they have to make something happen. They have to take the football away.
Savoy to the near side, Caruth in the slot. Detmer with time, looking end zone, Kidd's all alone. And the ball just overthrown. Kidd lost Dimitri Denmark on the corner route. And Coy Detmer's kicking himself a little bit.
Did you see Kidd go prone and slide across the back of the end zone? Remember Rick Dempsey and rainouts in baseball? How he just slide across the field? Watch Kidd right here. The ball's overthrown. Kidd makes a great effort for it, and it slips sliding away. See you later. He's up the tunnel. He's got to be. Man.
So it'll be 3rd down. And 8 yards to go. Colorado needs the 8-yard line. Trips to the top. Caruth closest to Detmer. Now Troutman will go the other way. False start. And a false start on Colorado. That will cost him 5. Might have been Tennyson McCarty, the tight end.
Start on the offense. 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
Well, McCarty is lined up at the right side of the formation. Tight end, does he flinch before the snap of the football? Back in motion, and there's definite flinch there. You can't, once you're in that 3-point stance, you cannot move a muscle. McCarty moved more than one muscle right there.
3rd and 13. And they'll bring a slot to the near side, send Savoy to the top. Canty's matched up with Kidd. Detmer with time. Throwing end zone, and it's a jump ball. and it's going to be intercepted by Chris Canty.
That's his 5th of the year, and that's a late hit. They might get Caruth. Yeah, they did. Canty gave himself up, took a knee. Caruth hit him, and that's going to be added on. So it'll be their ball at the 35-yard line, Kansas State.
And that's a huge play. It takes the field goal opportunity away from Colorado.
Yep.
And Kansas State, with 12:39 to play, still within 2 scores. And as you said, Dave, they'll have pretty good field position.
Well, they had to. Kansas State had to think takeaway. Takeaway master Chris Canty got that done. His 5th interception of the year, his 14th of his career. Big play.
Well, one knock on Coy Detmer, sometimes he forces the football.
When Ron Hornaday Jr. is on the track in his Napa brake parts truck, he doesn't even think about stopping.
Man, Ron's flying today. Hey, it's Earnhardt. Your wife called. Said something about an anniversary.
But when Ron hits the street, he relies on Napa brake parts. Because like all Napa parts, they're as good as you can get. Napa, we keep America running and stopping.
Passport.
Yes.
There's nothing in hoops that can do what a jam can do.
LaFonso Ellis.
One jam, one monster jam can totally change a game. It can take anybody inside a 50-mile radius out of the game. The guy guarding you, his trainer, his bench, his coach, the fat cats in the luxury box, the wives of those fat cats.
LaFonso with the power move. Oh, this guy is too much.
Those guys took the buff in Buffalo a little too seriously.
Yeah, they did. There's going to be some serious antifreeze in those bodies.
Jason Johnson, our Power Bar Optimum Performer of the Week. Power Bar salutes fine athletes who share a commitment to overcoming obstacles and reaching their personal best. He's a 3.8 student in business and a National Football Foundation scholar. Well done to Jason Johnson, who's a pretty fair center also. Kavanaugh, pump and go, looking for Lockett, double coverage. And excellent coverage. They tried to hit the home run with Lockett. And Kevin Lockett had to turn into the DB there, Dave.
Yeah, he had the reverse rolls. Boy, Colorado not fooled at all in the double move. Kavanaugh with the pump fake, and Lockett trying to make one of his patented acrobatic catches. This guy's a human highlight film. 39-inch vertical jump, and he almost jumped over Black to make a play on the football. Almost an outstanding effort by Lockett. Boy, he is a very gifted guy. His timing when he goes airborne is phenomenal.
Second and 10. And movement on the offensive line. That'll cost Kansas State 5 yards.
Little flinch again in this crowd noise. Kansas State was worried, you know.
Ball start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
On some of the replays, Drew, you've seen the offensive lineman holding hands. And the reason you hold hands as an offensive line is you can't hear the signals. The guard can peripherally see the ball move. The guard can see that out of the corner of his eye. And then when he's holding hands with the tackle, he releases the hand and the tackle knows the ball has been snapped. And the tackle doesn't have to worry about looking at the ball and having the defensive lineman beat him up the field. You see right here, they're holding hands. When the ball is snapped, the guard releases the tackle's hand and he's in pass protection.
Kavanaugh trying to find somebody open. He has room to run. Plenty of room. He'll have the first down and more. Safe at the 47-yard line of Colorado. So here come the Wildcats. A see, you also hold hands on a night like this. You'll hold hands with your enemy tonight to stay warm.
I'll tell you, it's a three-dog night. I'll tell you that right now. And this is a good move by Kavanaugh. The Red Sea parted, good coverage down the football field. There's about a 25-yard area to exploit that he did exactly that. This quarterback is an intelligent quarterback. He's not going to make the mistake that Troy Detmer made at the conclusion of the last possession. Don't force it. Be patient. This Kansas State team, very opportunistic. They find ways to win.
Russell showing blitz, backs out of it. 7-step drop. Kavanaugh pump and go. Wants the ton again. Double coverage. And it is knocked away by Dalton Simmons, who has played a great game in the secondary for A.J. Kristoff's D. You know, Chris Canty was the intended target there. Earlier this year, he played 123 snaps against Texas Tech.
Well, here's the two guys that are going to be paying attention, left corner and the safety to Chris Canty. And I tell you what, he feels that he was interfered with. His opportunity to make the catch. He felt like he was pushed in the back. He runs a little post route, gets inside the corner. The safety's there making a play to help him. No interference, just a good effort by Colorado Buffalo defensive personnel.
Lockett to the near side, trips to the top, 2nd and 10. Kavanaugh, who is going to change the play. Lockett can't hear it, and there is the final timeout for K-State.
That hurts.
The play clock was down to 1.
Kavanaugh brought Lockett in to try to solidify the protection, and it was too late in the 25-second clock. There was no way he was going to get it off. He burned his 3rd timeout. That is huge.
12-0 Colorado. Kansas State with 11:52 to go. They need to convert.
Route one to isolate Lockett near side. Reaches out, pulls it in, touchdown. Kevin Leck.
Success, getting there requires execution and the proper formation. At Kansas State University, that's precisely what you get. The skill and the will to succeed in the world. The proper formation of your mind and character, as well as the right formation for the playing field. That's Kansas State University.
For a portrait of classic rock in Colorado, 103.5 The Fox. Colorado's original classic rock, 103.5 The Fox. There's only one station where every song is a classic rock masterpiece. 103.5 The Fox.
We know this is probably the last thing you want to think about right now. So don't. Think about this. Jeep Grand Cherokee for only $319 a month. Or Jeep Cherokee Sport, now just $199 a month. Both have Jeep's legendary four-wheel drive system to get you through the deepest snow. So head over to your local Jeep and Eagle dealer today to take advantage of these deals. Then we won't ever have to think about this again.
See your local Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Back at Folsom Field in Boulder, the wind chill around 0. It's actually warmed up. Drew Goodman, Dave Lapham, Lisa Molofsky. 2nd and 10 for Kansas State. At the 49 of Colorado, they are out of timeouts. Trailing 12-0 with 11:52 to play. Kavanaugh underneath route, and he had Canty, and Canty got alligator arms, or was led a little bit too much to the middle of the football field. It'll be 3rd and 10 as we check the Dr. Pepper roundup. Number 1, Florida. I imagine they will remain number 1. Ohio State, tussle from the Hoosiers. Florida State in the 3rd. Nebraska rolling over Iowa State. Virginia in Charlottesville wins. Alabama and Mississippi State just getting going. BYU later on tonight in Honolulu. And Texas beat Kansas. And Missouri in overtime beat the Baylor Bears. Good win for Larry Smith. K-State needs a 1st down. Out there is Dean, and it's knocked away. Great recovery by Marcus Washington. Initially, Dean had a couple of steps. And you know what, Dave? Had Kavanaugh to decide to tuck it down again, he would have had 15 or 20 yards.
I agree. I think he would have had the first down, but he saw his receiver, Dean. He thought breaking open late, but Washington plays the receiver well. I mean, he never even turns around to find the football. He plays the receiver's eyes. Jimmy Dean's eyes tell him when the ball's arriving, and Washington times his strip of the football excellently.
Ryan Nunez back deep, and James Garcia will have to punt it away. And he nearly slipped. Good thing Colorado was setting up a return. A fair catch by the freshman Nunez at the 13-yard line. And with 11:30 to play, Colorado will try to work some clock.
Well, it was a big play, though. If Kavanaugh had decided to tuck the football and run, he would have had a first down. But he tried to go for the home run. You know who hasn't played much in this football game at the linebacker position is Matt Russell. They've run that 4-2 defensive configuration, and he's not one of those two linebackers in the passing game. But he's a very unselfish player. He really is.
There's no question about that. Garcia, you see, banged up a little bit, and now there's Matt Russell. He's one of those guys. He came out before the game. He was wearing a torn T-shirt, oblivious to the cold. Herschel Troutman, 2 or 3 yards up the middle, maybe to the 16-yard line. Early in this football game, he scored from 27 yards away. The only other score was a QB sneak from inside the 1-yard line from Coy Detmer.
There's only been 2 turnovers in this football game. Each team has thrown an interception. Nobody has lost a fumble. And when you think about these weather conditions, that's really taking care of the football. You know, you really have to give a lot of credit to both offensive units securing the football as well as they have, as well as special teams in the return games.
And you throw your initial game plan out the window on a night like this if you're a throwing team. Colorado has had success throwing the ball, but they figured they'd throw it more. Here's the pitch to Caruth at the end of the round. And he's got a lot of room still. Out of bounds at the 37-yard line. You got a good block from Melvin Thomas on the backside.
Boy, it was the old peel back block, an offensive lineman's dream. Caruth shows those Jets a little bit. A little misdirection, faking the option to the right, a little pitch back to Caruth. Offensive lineman is out in front of Caruth trying to escort him. There's one defender that might be able to make a play, but he's waffle-bellied right there. Excellent execution. That's what you call the old pancake block extraordinaire, giving Caruth the perimeter that he abused.
For Colorado with a 1st and 10. Detmer, Tennyson, and he catches the ball while he's on his backside. He'll get a couple of yards out of that. Most importantly now for Rick Neuheisel and his football team with the reception, the clock keeps moving.
Yeah, McCarty made a great effort right here. I mean, it's a shoestring catch. He goes down on his backside, pops the football up, and grabs it with 2 hands. That's a nice effort right there. If Detmer doesn't make him work so hard, McCarty gets some yards after catch.
He's a 2-time academic. What was he? Big 8, all academic choice in the Big 8 for 2 years. McCarty. That play was worth 2 yards, but it was worth a minute on the clock. Running over people, up on bodies is Herschel Troutman. It'll set up a 3rd down and about 5. Niall Wyron made the tackle. In the pass game, Wyron has been effectively nullified.
They have done a good job on Wyron, and predominantly you have to give Melvin Thomas the nod on that. I mean, the big offensive tackle is peaking at the right time. 6'3", 305-pounder. Wyron's more of a 250-pound guy. Thomas has gotten in his way and nullified his efforts.
3rd down and 5 underneath route. Caruth short of the 1st down. Big tackle by Clyde Johnson, the strong safety. This one it looked like Caruth was going to get rolling. Johnson took the appropriate angle and brought him down probably a half a yard shy.
And Johnson, not your typical strong safety in terms of coverage. They don't mind locking him up on talented wideouts in coverage. And, you know, usually that's a matchup that the defensive coordinators shudder to think about. But Mike Nick Stoops has a lot of confidence in Clyde Johnson's ability. In fact, when Colorado goes to a full receiver set, the strong safety is covering the slot receiver. That's very unusual.
Now you see Detmer next to the official. He's going to wait till the play clock gets to 1, and he's going to call a timeout. Take as much time off as possible, and then you will see, I'm sure, the punt unit. Though the crowd, actually every home crowd wants you to go. They want you to go on 4th down on your own 1-yard line. But punting here for Colorado, you would assume, is the only decision. It is 4th down and short, and we will see the punt unit.
You know, Forrest Gregg, head coach of the Bengals, when we played in that Freeze Bowl game, his message to us was before the game was, man, you're not going to like it. It's going to be like going to the dentist, but you have to do it. So just go out and play. Don't worry about the weather. Go out and play.
Colorado surviving the weather, leading on the scoreboard, 12-zip.
These are the biggest feet in pro basketball. Shoe size 21. If you think the shoes are hard to fill, imagine what it takes to fill the rest of him. Big boy. Well, new cheese tortellini from Chunky foots the bill. It's loaded with giant ring-shaped pasta stuffed with cheese, plus huge chunks of chicken and tons of vegetables. So if you've got a giant appetite to feed, Chunky cheese tortellini scores with the big boys. Satisfied? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought so. Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal.
Dodge Caravan not only offers a convenient driver's side sliding door, it's cleverly designed to hold the sliding doors open, even when you're parked on the steepest of hills. Try it out for yourself, if you're ever so inclined. Dodge Caravan, just as original as the original.
You're ready to quit. Great. Now, which patch? Single strength Nicotrol? But that means one single step. If you're not comfortable with that, you may want Nicoderm CQ. CQ's a 3-strength program. You start with the highest strength and gradually step down till you free yourself of nicotine. And gradual is the method doctors and pharmacists prefer. Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to quit successfully.
Welcome back to Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, where the temperature now with the wind chill is 3 degrees. Colorado on top 12-0 with 8 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Time now for our Southwest Airlines storyline. Colorado pass defense has allowed only 76 yards this entire game. Kansas State last time shutout 1991 versus, look who, Colorado. Drew, Dave.
All right, Lisa, Chris Canty back deep. He's returned a punt for a touchdown this year, but not this time. He calls the fair catch at the 23-yard line as Nick Peach boots it only 30 yards, but no return. 8:08 to play. It was 12-0 at halftime. It remains 12-0.
You know, Chris Canty, who we're just taking a look at there, he was recruited. The fans, they're staying till the very end. 3 degrees wind chill factor. But Chris Canty was recruited out of New Jersey. He was a high school wide receiver, little skinny wideout. The only other team that was interested in him was Rutgers. He decides to come to Kansas State, gets in their weight program. They convert him into the defensive backfield. And he becomes the best in the country.
And he's only a junior.
Yep.
A lot of folks in the Little Apple, Manhattan, wondering if he's going to come back for his senior year. NFL scouts drool when they watch him. And now Kavanaugh walking away. There are no timeouts.
Yeah, no timeouts. It's going to cost him. He figures he'll take the penalty rather than take the blown-up play. They're in the wrong formation. Drew, the play had no shot. He decided rather than to risk a turnover, he'd take the delay of game. He burned all his timeouts. No other choice.
And you know what? Now it's going to get twice as loud. A sellout of 53,500. I don't know if all the ticket holders made it to the stadium, but most are here. Kavanaugh down the middle, complete. It is Gross Didier, the junior from St. Paul, Kansas. He just sat down in the zone. He'll pick up the first down up to the 38-yard line.
Well, the coaches felt that if Colorado Colorado paid as much attention to Kevin Lockett as they had anticipated, which they have. Grostidier could have used the middle of the field. Keep Lockett on the out patterns to the outside quadrant and let Grostidier operate in the middle. He did that time successfully.
Trips to the near side. Lockett up top. Kavanaugh.
Oh.
Had Lawrence. He had Matt Russell man for man, and that was a mismatch. Lawrence couldn't hang on.
Got to catch that football. If he catches that football, he's going to gain a lot of yards. As Matt Russell had him in man coverage underneath, and Russell is now checking out of the football game. They're going to try to get better matchups in the passing game. Russell trying to take the angle, but you got an 18-wheeler working against a sports car, but the sports car can't get out of gear. The clutch blows out. You got to catch the football.
You got to be able to shift. I don't care what kind of car you're operating.
Big time.
Colorado rushes 4. And this was one of those tweener routes. They ran the same play, and it went over Lawrence's head and short of Canty. And this time, Terrell Cade, who runs much better, was covering Lawrence.
You know, I think that you have to give A.J. Kristoff and his staff a heck of a tip of the cap, because he's run that 4-2 look with 6 defensive backs. He's run his base defense. He's sugared, fake blitz, walked out, made Kavanaugh try to change plays. He's made him burn timeouts. They've taken a delay of game. Really, the Colorado defensive coaching staff came up with one heck of a game plan that's been executed well.
That was Brian Cabral, the linebacker coach. A.J. Kristoff upstairs, 3rd and 10. Here comes the crowd. And with 7:37 to go, Kansas State must convert, and that one's going to cost them 5.
Weiner.
That's Todd Weiner getting out of his stance a little early.
Well, maybe he's going to hold hands with Greenwood. You know, on the right side, they were holding hands. Weiner can't hear because of the crowd noise. Greenwood's going to watch the ball, hold hands with him, and once he releases his hand, Weiner knows it's snapped.
Delay of game on the offense. 5 yards.
Well, the clock expired before he started to move, before he broke his stance, but he definitely broke his stance early, too. There were 2 penalties on that play, and basically, once again, the clock expires because Colorado is playing with Kavanaugh's head. They're really keeping him off balance.
They have the dime package in again. 6 DBs on 3rd and 15. Kavanaugh has all day, and it is complete. And I believe he got a foot down at the 48-yard line. Jimmy Dean, what a job on the sideline by the senior. And a great throw by Kavanaugh, who had time to survey the whole field.
Well, let's take a look. Simmons, a little delay route by Canty, and Jimmy Dean runs a crossing pattern as Canty goes underneath. And yeah, he has this, the tap. Simmons drives him out of bounds. Reception, possession, left foot still down. Great execution, quarterback and receiver.
So Kansas State will march on. Colorado backside of the blitz, coming free. There's the sack. They came with only 4. Making the play was Terrell Cade.
Kavanaugh, nowhere to go with the football. The blitz got to him that time. Why did the blitz get there? Let's take a look at the coverage. You know, there's the shadow, me and my shadow working their way down the sideline. Lockett has nowhere to go on his route. Nice effort right there by Damon Wheeler. And then the blitz. Cade comes free. Boy, a whole bunch of them met at the quarterback. That was a pig pile right there, and Kavanaugh was at the bottom of it.
He just looped. Little line stunt. 4th sack for Colorado. Kavanaugh, slip screen. Lockett tackled from behind by Cade.
Now, every time Lockett lines up in the slot, there's some kind of a special play. And that was the underneath screen, the flanker screen. Usually he is the widest receiver in the formation. Whenever Kevin Lockett is not the widest receiver in the formation, as he's not there, Canty's the widest receiver. In the slot is Lockett. There's a special play to Lockett, and this is the flanker screen. And Colorado's very aware of that fact.
Hey, Dave, Lockett, their big play man, 5 catches, only 24 yards.
Made him work hard.
Blitz coming. It's picked up. Grostidier underneath has the football. Bounced out at the 41 by Rosga. And that will bring up a 4th down and 4. And Kansas State with 5:58 to play, must go.
Nebraska has had a great year. He's had 4 interceptions the last 5 games. Time he puts the thump on Gross Didier to take him out to the sideline, using the sideline as a 12th defender. The last time we were here, Drew, he went 100+ yards. You only get 100 yards credit in college football, but he went about 105 with an interception, got him in the end zone, and rigor mortis set in. He cramped up everywhere.
Boy, almost passed out.
Yeah.
4th and 4 for Kansas State. They need the 38. Screen, Lockett. He's going to have the first down. Great sense by the All-American. He realized where the sticks were, and he just let out a dive and got about a yard extra.
Now, Lockett is right here. He's going to come inside for the wide receiver screen. Now he's the widest receiver on the field, and they still run the screen. The inside slot receiver picks off one on the cross, and then down the football field, Jimmy Dean is working his way for position. Right there, Jimmy Dean is a slot receiver who gets a block on Wheeler that gives Lockett an opportunity to gain the first down. Nice effort by his cohort.
Blitz coming. Kavanaugh in the pocket, looking post route, and it is overthrown, intercepted.
Wow!
David Wheeler, his second pick of the game.
Man,
what a day for the true freshman from Sacramento.
Boy, he extended completely. That is an athletic play right there. The quickest defensive back on the football team. Bill Snyder can't believe the play. That is big time. In this weather, and to hit that field that's basically a concrete floor, and to still maintain possession of the football once you've gone prone and extended. Full extension, catch, secure. Boy, that is an unbelievable effort by Wheeler, and Snyder is like distraught. It's like, he caught that ball? No way. It can't be. It had to have hit the ground. No, he caught it. Son of a gun. That's a great play.
And now with 5:26 to play, Colorado will work the clock. Again, Kansas State cannot stop it. They are all out of timeouts. The Buffs lead 12-0. They're trying to go to 9-1. They came in number 6 in the nation, tied with North Carolina. Carolina lost to Virginia. The tailback is Troutman, and he'll have 5 yards. Damon Wheeler, last year in high school, rushed for 2,200 yards. His assignment today, for the most part, was to mirror 83. Kevin Lockett, and what a job he has done. 2 interceptions. The first set up a touchdown for Colorado.
And the second one nullified the last opportunity Kansas State had to get on the scoreboard. This guy was Lockett's shadow. Every time they ran the 6 defensive back formation, he had Lockett. Sometimes with help, sometimes not. And Kavanaugh, really, I mean, he's thinking about it, but all you can do is say congratulations to Damon Wheeler. 2 great plays.
Troutman protecting the football. Gets 4. It'll be 3rd down and 1, and he's about a yard shy of a 100-yard game. A quiet 100-yard game, but an effective one. Colorado, the criticism has come from all corners. They're not winning pretty. They don't have a running game. The defense is too soft. But Rick Neuheisel said maybe we played to the level of our competition, but we have kind of a bunker mentality. The criticism has brought our team closer together. And he said about a month and a half ago, after the loss to Michigan, he said, late in November, we're going to be right where everybody expected us to be. Third and short, Troutman, first down, 34-yard line. 4 fresh downs and only 3:52 left. Bill Snyder came into this one looking for a breakthrough win. 17-1 in the old Big 8 against everybody but Colorado and Nebraska the last 3 years.
And his quarterback Kavanaugh, 2 costly interceptions, one leading to a Colorado touchdown, the last one snuffing out the final opportunity. Boy, Detmer, he's made a crucial mistake also. He threw a ball, forced the ball into the end zone for the only turnover that Colorado has had in this football game. But Rick Neuheisel will be the one that comes out on top. And his football team at 9-1, Drew, is still in the hunt with a big game. And that, you know, they need a lot of help. A lot of things have to fall their way. But there still is a scenario where they could be in a fight for the national championship. Not out of the question.
No, not by any stretch. Troutman runs into Semino and Deshaun Fogel. Both of those fellows have played outstanding football games. But Kansas State never could get anything going, save one drive in the third quarter. They went 80-some-odd yards in 18 plays, but couldn't convert on fourth down. And there's a happy 18-year-old. That's Damon Wheeler.
When you think about it, a year ago, the guys in the playoffs probably in California running the football as a running back, and here he is trying to keep his team alive for a national championship. Colorado with the win tonight. This will be their 18th straight win in the month of November. In the last 26 games, there'll be 25 wins, no losses, and one tie in the month of November. They know how to finish.
They'll go to 19-3 under Rick Neuheisel. They give to the fullback, Darren Fisk. Minimal gain. It'll be third down. Rick Neuheisel in his second year. Let's look at some of the names. The company that he keeps.
Yes.
Fisher DeBerry down south of here in his second year at the Air Force Academy. They won 12 games. Remember, Bart Weiss was a quarterback. I think that was 1985. Barry Switzer, so many great teams at Oklahoma. Look at those names. John Cooper, R.C. Slocum, Osborne.
Newt Rockney.
Newt Rockney. You called some of his games,
yeah,
I recall.
I tell you, yeah, he gave me his leather helmet when I started playing. But Rick Neuheisel now joins that group. 9 wins in his second season, and he's in the top 4, I think, now. Total victories in their first 2 years. I mean, he's done the job.
Colorado calls a timeout. They lead 12-0. $1:54 to play in Boulder.
The hum of the saw, the wail of the drill, the rhythm of the flame. If you love the music of woodworking, listen to this free TV offer. It's 101 shop tips, packed with secrets from the pros like a jig for routing evenly spaced dados, straightening uneven edges. You'll get 101 time-saving tips, and you get it free when you order cabinet making for just $9.99. Packed with hundreds of full-color photos and illustrations, cabinet making shows you how to master every cabinetry technique and get picture-perfect results. Preview future volumes from The Art of Woodworking with no commitment to buy. Use your credit card and get this video, Shop Secrets from Master Craftsman, free. So call now to order cabinet making for just $9.99 and get 101 shop tips free. Use your credit card and get your free Shop Secrets video. Call now.
Call 1-800-736-4433 to order cabinet making and get your free 101 shop tips. Use your credit card and you'll receive a free Shop Secrets video, or send check or money order to the address on your screen.
Big 12 Conference Football is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. And by Southwest Airlines with low fares on every flight, every seat, every day. Back at Folsom Field in Boulder, here's the situation. Colorado leads 12-0. 1:54 to play. The Wildcats can't stop the clock. Colorado has a third down and 5 at their own 38. And if they win tonight over 9th-ranked Kansas State, it'll be their first victory over a ranked team this year, and it'll bring the string to 9 years, 9 straight years that they've beat a ranked opponent. And, you know, since '89, they have played a brutal schedule. 40% of their opposition have been ranked. Troutman cuts it back and will be short of a first down.
Oh, Colorado.
I was going to say Clyde Johnson and Thad Swayzer combined to bring him down.
Well, Colorado looks like the punt this football away, and that's too bad because the crowning moment of this football game would be for the offense to be able to take the genuflect formation where you take a knee and the clock winds down and the game expires, but they're going to run the clock down as far as they can here, and then the punt team will come on and probably knock this football down the other end of the football field.
Boy Detmer again, as you said, will wait until there's 1 second left as he goes and visits with Tom Allers.
Yes, he's saying, are you as cold as I am? Let's take a timeout here, unfortunately.
1:09 left. That's really an extraordinary stat. The fact that Colorado has played a ranked opponent 40% of the time since 1989, and they were 23-13-1 coming in against those ranked opponents, so they'll improve to 24-13-1. It is time now for our Power Bar Player of the Game. Now, defensively, it's got to be Damon Wheeler. On offense, it's Herschel Troutman. 110 yards rushing, and he did a lot of damage early in this football game, particularly on the first drive of the game.
Yeah, 27-yard counter. And Wade makes a good block at the linebacker level. The guy who's starting at left tackle for Welsh, Aaron Wade, clears the path. Troutman finalizes, 27 yards, touchdown. That was a big play. And Troutman, I think he was the best running back in the field tonight. Drew 5'7", 195, was able to keep his weight over his feet. And it sounds funny, but if you run with a forward lean tonight, the icy field, you were flat in your face, a la Goolsby. You know, this Colorado football team, too, Drew, the encouraging thing, they've got Nebraska next week. That's a challenge. But I don't think they've played their best game yet. The graph's still going up. They haven't played their best game. They haven't put it all together yet.
They'll play Nebraska on November 29th in Lincoln. Of course, Nebraska, the last few years, had the Buffalo number, their number, and everybody else in college football.
No question.
2 straight national championships. They too in the hunt. Here comes pressure, and Peach able to get it away out of bounds at the 30-yard line, and they didn't care how far it went. They just wanted to make sure it wasn't blocked.
Yeah, Denmark came in and tried to block it off the slot late, but he couldn't get there.
So with 1:03, Kansas State needs a miracle. 2 touchdowns in that amount of time. Brian Cavanaugh, he's waited his turn. Last year he played behind Matt Miller, and in the Holiday Bowl against Colorado State, Matt Miller went down with an injury. Stepped to the forefront, Brian Cavanaugh. He throws 4 touchdowns, and Kansas State blows away Colorado State in the Holiday Bowl, and he's the MVP. They'll roll the pocket. Complete to the 49-yard line of Colorado, Kevin Lockett.
Well, they ran the old comeback route to the sideline to conserve time. Colorado's going to keep everything in front of them, and Lockett ran them off down the football field. Watch him just run his shadow, Wheeler, off the play. Little push-off, subtle push-off. He gets to the sideline on the comeback route, receives the football, steps out of bounds to conserve time. Nice route.
Kevin Lockett, 209 career catches. The all-time leader in Big 8 history. The Big 8 records will continue for a couple of more years. He moves past Hartley Dykes. Here's a pass that could be picked, and it would have been number 3 for Damon Wheeler. That was glove coverage on Lockett. Well, it's got to be a tough deal, Dave. You're a running back, and you get recruited, and you're used to being in the end zone, and they sell you on being a DB.
Well, and he said, you ran one comeback route and you fooled me. Not twice. I'm going to learn quick. I mean, my learning curve's going straight north. And this kid, he's feisty now. You know, he's obviously got a great ability to change direction. He can open his hips up. I mean, he's a natural defensive back. Who would have thunk it?
Second down and 10. Cavanaugh thrown to the backside toward Lockett, wide of the mark. Kansas State next week will line up and play the Iowa State Cyclones, and if they win next week, they'll be 9-2, and it will be their 4th consecutive 9-win season. This is the all-time losingest program in Division 1A football. We just point that out to illustrate the job that Bill Snyder has done the last 8 years. Nobody has lost more football games in college football at the 1A level than Kansas State, but they don't lose frequently anymore. That'll be short of a first down. Jimmy Dean hauls it in. Teray Elton Davis from here in Boulder. Boulder High School made the tackle. Clock still moves inside 30 seconds to play.
You know, since 1990 or 93, when Kansas State doesn't score 20, they don't win.
And incomplete, no flags. Colorado will take over on downs.
And they get to run the genuflect formation. Take a knee. It's the most gratifying formation in football when you've won the football game. They they snap the ball, you protect the quarterback, he takes a knee, genuflects, and everybody goes off the field happy.
12-0 Colorado. They will improve to 9-1. Their second best start ever. It's actually a better first 10 games than back in 1990 when they captured the national championship. They had a loss and a tie that year. They lost to Illinois, tied Tennessee in the kickoff classic.
And you know, defensively, this Colorado football team has 18 players, Drew, that average 25 snaps a game. They got a lot of people with experience on this football unit that'll be coming back next year.
Well, here's the victory formation you talked about. And Detmer covered up. And Colorado will win the football game. 6th-ranked Colorado 12, 9th-ranked Kansas State nothing. And so many terrific performances in tough conditions tonight, Dave. It was cold. It was like a skating rink for much of the game. And Colorado was able to make more plays.
Well, it was a game of survival in the first half. Who could stay on their feet? I mean, who could stand upright was going to be able to execute and make some plays. And then in the second half, the weather calmed down a little bit. It warmed up a little bit to single digits. They got the field cleared off. Some of the ice, some of the frozen precipitation of the field was cleared off. The guys were able to execute a little bit better with their feet under them. And as you mentioned, Colorado made more big plays in this football game.
Well, how do you like the matchup? Colorado and Nebraska. I'll get your thought on that in a moment. But right now, we go down to the field. Lisa Molosky with the winning head coach, Rick Neuheisel. Lisa.
Coach, Colorado Buffaloes came through with a big win tonight. Congratulations.
Well, it is a big win. It's a fine program we played. Two teams 8-1 with a lot of aspirations down the road. We will think about that later, but we are excited as heck to play in this kind of condition and play as hard as we did.
Your guys came through with some huge plays when you really needed it.
All night long. We've got a lot of kids that have ridden high. Great tribute to our class of 92. 16 seniors say goodbye tonight, and Folsom Field should be proud of that group.
You know, Coach, you've got 2 weeks to prepare now for Nebraska. Are you ready?
Who do we play next? I'm not sure. But those fellas at the end in the helmet are a great program. We're going to go in there, but we will show up. The plane's already rented.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations. Drew, Dave.
All right, Lisa, thanks much. Dave, that'll be a heck of a game in Lincoln.
Be a heck of a game. You know, you got to figure Nebraska's the favorite. Colorado